Let's call the meeting to order. Should we take care of the minutes first?
It's up
Is
to you,
that-
but yeah, you'll probably get that out of the way, but.
Did everybody have a chance to look and can we approve the minutes from those?
They're the 27th, September 11th, and December
In
4th.
December 4th. All set?
Move to accept.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Second.
Aye.
Write this down, because you.
All in favor? Oh, jeez, I gotta. Now we don't have notes anymore. All right, does everybody have to
Need
sign
some
these?
paper?
Or,
They don't have to, they don't want to, but do you need a piece of paper?
yes, please. I will.
I think for next year, Tom needs an assistant.
Yes.
Or maybe he needs a secretary, maybe that's it.
Well, I
Take
don't
minutes.
normally,
Um,
I don't normally have
so
to
you
do all
said
this. It's
Denise
Julie's
here.
here.
Yeah, Julie.
Yeah, they always do
Plus
it.
the meetings that you
It's
want.
just these 2 meetings at the end, that's it.
I brought a copy of the presentation for last night if anyone wants to take a peek. Has pictures too, so.
Is this for the new building?
Yeah.
Yeah, but, did you get to see it? Oh,
No, I haven't seen it.
do you
I
wanna,
only saw what we had
do you
in
wanna
this.
peruse it while we're
Sure,
doing?
thank you. You got a lot of things going on here, right in the middle. I did bring cupcakes, because it's our last meeting. I have some chocolate and some vanilla with salted caramel buttercream. You'll happily hand out if anybody wants some.
Gosh.
Did you bake?
I did bake them, and make the frosting from scratch.
Yeah, that one,
Yeah.
that's just you.
Of course,
That's just you.
of course. So my job that pays the bills is working at UNH teaching math.
I know.
My fun job is working at the bakery.
Which bakery?
Sweet Memories,
Oh,
Which one?
in Strata, in,
Durham, Sweet Memories.
Oh, okay.
That's my fun
Is this-
job.
One of each.
Nope, yeah, for you and Pat.
Oh, this is pretty. So it's only one floor, huh? That's interesting. I expected that.
There are just 2 copies for signing here?
Yeah, the other one is just Tom and Carrie sign it.
Thank you.
Now, this is what the board has already decided on?
Nope. Nope. That's just a summary page I usually do. That's, oh,
It
you
takes
can sign
over
this.
to Rebecca.
You usually talk about yourself in the third person?
I said, she said that.
Oh, she said that.
She said take that, Rebecca. No, not usually.
All right, so 2 things. This particular document is what we talked about last time when we moved over. Those are not set in stone. We can talk about them again, but we still have ones that have increases that we want to discuss. This is something I'll generate, and I brought it on my computer so we can update it, so we can see what the overall increase is in potential tax rates. But all this is this column that says 2019, 2020, that's what everybody asked for. So if we made no changes to what everybody asked for, the operating budget goes up about 8.7%. And the town appropriation goes up 24.16%. The latter part, the second page, there's some assumptions there. I'm just assuming the tax rate for the county goes up 3%, the school goes up 3%. Overlay is not a big change. And assessed value, I'm looking at 4 million being added. Those are just estimates, those are guesstimates, if you will. So that's not set in stone, anything like that, but then the last part of the second page, it'll show you potential tax rates. And don't look at them too closely because you might have a heart attack, but there's a defibrillator right outside the door, so we can take care of you.
This does not include the bond.
No.
Okay, no impact of that.
It does, the 2 things it doesn't include any effect of the bond, because we haven't determined what that is. And also, part of the town center proposal includes putting $100,000 away in a new capital reserve fund to fund the renovation of the town hall.
Well, the bond would go in next year, the following year, wouldn't it? The payment, the first payment would be in the following
I
year.
believe, depending on when you get it, Alice, you probably get one interest payment in next year. That's about it.
Okay.
Depends on when you get it.
Yeah, when you take it out, yeah.
Yep. So that's what I'm providing. Any questions? Oh, and also, where is it? Bring it. Oh, no, I did bring it. Rebecca, your comment about the whole Stratford County,
Yeah.
I had a conversation with Karen Rossi. Does this thing that you sent Alice?
Yeah.
Karen basically says there's a lot of hoo-ha when it says, you know, how much we actually saved or what it didn't cost us. Many of these things we didn't request as a town, other people requested it. The only one that she is saying that we would save money is the produced topographic road maps. The rest of them are things that other entities asked for, which affect the town. So she's not agreeing with any of these, because they total up about $3,700, which is less than the $5,300.
Well, when I talked to them today, one of the things I was told is that 50% of our dues goes to the transportation section as matching funds for the federal grant. And the Stratford Regional Planning Commission is, of course, their mission is, part of it is to plan for transportation, including cars, including bikes, including alternate methods of transportation.
Okay.
So 50, and they also told me that the town's liability, or how they fix our rate, is it's $1, I think it's $1.23 per capita. And they rate the number of people in town at 4369, I think.
Okay.
And that's based on something I think they get from what used to be the Office of State Planning. It's called something else now.
Okay.
All right. She also said to me, I mean, are you looking at the Lamprey River one?
No, I'm looking at the thing you sent that says Stratford County Regional Planning Commission 2018 Town Report.
It's going in the town report. That's what that is.
But she's saying these, where it says, value of each service provided at no cost to the town is included in parentheses. That's not right, Karen says. Especially these, the one that says converted snowmobile trails data into GIS format and produce trail maps, FY $112.50. Karen says she received a bill and we paid that. So that was not provided to us free of charge. And she says these other ones are ones that the town didn't even request.
Well, I was told.
I'm only saying what she said.
Okay, but I'm just gonna respond with what I was told.
Yep,
For example, on the tax maps,
yep,
if we were not a member, the price of the tax map goes up automatically, the amount they charge per hour,
Yep.
because they have to recapture all their expenses
yep.
to do that. The thing of the Lamprey River, which was a major thing that they did this year, and I think is mentioned in that report, is it not? About finding the new floodplain,
Oh, yeah, yep,
and that's like a $30,000 item,
yep,
none of which came from the town,
yep.
but which in a certain way benefits the town. I don't think the regional planning commissions do the FEMA maps, do they? Or do they, maybe they do the investigation for the FEMA maps, I don't know.
Yeah.
But it would make sense to me that all the FEMA maps would need to be updated given the consequences of climate change. And I think that's one step where they've done the Lamprey River and their floodplain areas.
Yeah, well, it says upcoming projects, completion of the Lee floodplain study,
Yeah,
which is periodic review of maps. Yeah, so that's upcoming.
right, based upon what they've already done.
So Karen reiterated, she is not in favor of renewing it, but she says if you want to renew it, she's okay with that. She's not happy with it, but,
I don't see why you wouldn't renew it personally. I just don't see, I mean, Karen only deals with the map part, and the Stratford Regional deals with transportation. There's a thing in there on traffic accidents or something that they've done. And we don't use them much for transportation, but a lot of towns do, like they do planning for overlaying the roads, when they're gonna tar the next road. I mean, Randy has already done that for this town, but that sort of thing. And it just seems to me that it would be crazy to drop out of the Regional Planning Commission.
Well, that's information, we can talk about that at some point. So wherever the chair wants to start, if he even
We're
wants to
gonna go over
start.
the-
Where I like to start.
No, let's go on.
Go home? Okay.
So, we're gonna go down through the list again and do the things that we waited to touch on with
That's what I
Sure.
checked in last night.
Pat and Rebecca on.
Yeah, because they weren't here last time, so.
Right. Those.
So we're gonna look at this one.
Were there any specific questions that you guys had on any of the stuff that, because we didn't touch on, we didn't do the police, we didn't do the fire, because we were waiting for you.
Didn't do transfer station.
Transfer station,
Yeah.
right.
Okay.
But do you
So-
want to go down through them in order?
Yeah, do we want to go down again?
Because we talked about some of them, but the two ladies
Right.
didn't. Well, two of the three ladies didn't get an opportunity to say their thoughts about any of those particular items.
So that's what I was wondering.
Okay.
Do you want to go through those again? Or do you
Selectmen's
wanna-
office and then,
We can do them quickly.
Is there anything on the-
Okay.
That I have much
If you have
to
any
say.
questions or if,
Yeah.
yeah, you're fine with them, then we can check them off.
so anything in the selectmen's office?
No.
No, I got nothing.
Okay. Elections and registrations?
So why are these all zeroed out?
Because
You guys didn't make a decision?
we didn't decide.
Okay,
Because there was-
that's why I was confused
There
earlier.
was some questions about the number of elections and costs and stuff, and, who was it, Tom, did you send out something about the
I saw that.
elections?
It was to Julie and she answered.
Yep,
Did you all get that?
Yes.
Julie's,
Yes.
okay.
so are we okay with what they're proposing?
Almost.
I am,
Yeah.
Okay,
is it
I'll move those over.
everybody? Okay.
Tax collector? Anything there? You just took it. Financial administration? IT expenses, there were some questions on that.
She explained them all in her
I don't know if anybody had
answer.
any
Did
questions.
everybody, is everybody okay with that?
I'm just gonna ask a quick question, and I don't want it to change this year, I'm gonna vote to move it over. Do we go out to bid on that stuff,
For what?
the contracts?
For which
For
computer services?
software and
Yes.
IT and all
The-
that?
The software stuff, we're kind of tied into the vendors that we have. Like Tyler Technologies is who we have for the accounting system, so we can't go anyplace else, that's where it is. For stuff we have choices, yeah, we do those things. But like computer services, I'm not sure, we're in a contract with them right now, I don't know when it renews. We're with Back Bay, I don't remember when it renews. But many of the things, like when we do the photocopier, we're in a lease agreement for those. When it's up, then we go out and do another one. But many of the software support services were tied to those, like Avatar. I remember the one the town clerk uses, I don't remember what it's called. So, but yeah, we go out to bid.
Everybody okay with IT expenses?
Assessing?
The mileage was, we're paying the mileage to the assessor to use their car.
I know, that's so crazy to me. Why isn't that part of the contract?
Because they used to use our car, and I guess they made an agreement
Yeah, they used
when
to
we
use
got rid
ours.
of our car.
That's ridiculous.
So then they pay them, they agree to pay them mileage instead of using, get rid of our car. Okay,
Good changes? Legal fees?
What? I know we have a lot of legal fees with the one guy with the,
It's not even in this
what's
part.
the Fair Point?
Fair.
And why is that,
wires, we talked about
How
that.
much
the
time
last
why
do you
is
time.
that so much money?
Fairpoint,
Quick explanation.
no, there's no quick explanation.
Well, you did a good job.
The Fairpoint owns the utility poles in towns and stuff
Yeah.
like that. So,
50% of them
yeah,
probably.
well, probably.
Okay,
We had a big discussion about who owns how many, whatever.
okay.
But they disagree with how much we assess them for. So they have taken the state of New Hampshire's municipalities to court, and they won a judgment. For the town of Lee, they want back tax of, what is it?
That was 250.
Yeah, 250, but abatement, sorry, of $250,000.
Plus interest.
I don't know if interest is included in that already or not.
And guaranteed continue the contract.
Yeah, and they want those assessed values to go forward. They offered to give us a deal for $139,000 instead of the $250,000. And we've been told by our legal team to reject that, and most towns have rejected it. So it'll be appealed to the Supreme Court, our Supreme Court.
Yeah.
So that's what we're waiting for. So one of the things is we have that liability sitting out there of $250,000. But this $3,000 for Fairpoint is our share, because towns have come together in terms of defending the case.
And our general legal fees, we just are expecting them to increase 25%?
Well, there's all kinds of,
Little
all kinds of
other
things.
things.
That doesn't include the guy that you're talking
No,
about.
Yeah.
that's not even.
We'll get to
It's a
him
whole
later.
different thing?
We'll
He's
get to
in
him
the
later.
map planning and zoning.
Okay, all right.
We have, there's a Market Basket is the biggest one out of that. They are disputing the assessment on their plaza up there. They think it should be about $1.5 million less.
So
there's
what
a
is
court
it?
case.
What is it? Is it 9?
I think, well, it's 1.5 million less. I think it's like 7 something. they think
7
it's worth.
something? And
They
is
think
the
it's-
7 something the result of the last time they took us to court? Do you know?
Well, that's this time they took us to court,
No, but, no, this,
a long time ago.
This happened a while ago.
Market
too,
Basket
right?
took us to
Yeah.
court and the town lost. So they had to reduce the assessment.
But this is another.
And so now, and so I'm curious, were they assessed at that level before this one
I believe so.
started?
I believe so.
So you guys took whatever the court said as the assessed value, and now they're protesting that?
Yeah, their rationale is that
They have
many of their
vacancies.
many of the places, as you saw up there, are not filled,
Right,
so it's worth less, so,
that's
but,
true.
so that's still ongoing.
Well, it's their fault they're not.
Well,
No,
my
like-
comment
Could say
is,
that,
Well, the
yeah.
Hallmark store didn't wanna go. I remember that woman
Yeah.
telling me, she's like, we
Yeah.
don't wanna go, but they just jacked our rent.
right, she told me the same thing.
The jet to
So-
rent and the
They weren't fixing
Well, they have
it.
to pay
heating
their
and
taxes.
cooling system was gonna cost $55,000 and Market Basket wasn't gonna fix it. They said Hallmark had to fix it. Or-
So I assume the town got an appraisal, right? I mean, the Market Basket submitted an appraisal based on income.
Yeah,
And then what did we do? Do we have an appraisal based on income?
we are supporting whatever the assessment is and how we did it. I don't know in terms of more details. I don't know any more than what I've just told
Okay,
you.
so who's your expert witness at court?
I don't know.
Okay.
Karen would know, I do not. So.
Okay. Seems great.
But the thing that you're thinking about is further down.
Yeah,
Yeah, so
Okay.
we can talk about that too.
I just was looking at the 20% increase and wondering why it was,
Yep.
why we have to piecemeal reduce it. But okay,
Yeah. We okay with that?
Yeah.
18? Okay.
Yep.
Personnel administration. The only thing that I moved over is what I talked about last time in terms of pay in lieu of vacation.
Mm-hmm.
We've kept it at 10,000, that seems to be sufficient. The 15,376 is if everybody that was eligible to take it, took it, and we don't find that to be the case over the past history, so. But that's the only one we agreed to move over. Many of these things that we're gonna talk about in terms of personnel will affect this, so maybe we just hold on to that until we figure out what we're doing with the other positions.
Yeah, I think that's fine.
Page 4, which is planning and zoning.
At the bottom.
yeah, okay.
So this is the,
And we moved everything over except the 5,300, so we should probably talk about Stratford County Regional Planning.
I want to say something else I was told today.
Yeah.
Stratford Regional Planning Commission and Rockingham County Planning Commission have more or less joined together to help create a situation which towns can join, and they can put out RFPs, one RFP to provide electricity.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And let the vendors out there bid on it. Now, I was told today that in general, what's been happening is that towns have been able to save on electric about what they spend on the dues for the, all right?
Okay.
Now, I don't know if we've ever asked to participate, or, I just don't know. But it seems to me like that's a very good program. The other thing I was told today is that they are forming an energy committee that will do energy audits for towns. I asked them if they'd changed the bulbs.
What, their answer was what, Alice? Would they change the bulbs or not?
Right.
No?
They didn't know what I was talking about, I don't know why.
Oh,
But that also sounded to me like a very good program.
oh. The other thing I learned, which I think it was you, Brian, that brought up, in terms of replacing the bulbs in this building, we are moving forward with that. That's already started. The contract has been, we signed off on it, but they've determined in terms of what's going to be done and how much the utility is going to give us a refund on that particular stuff. It was more than 50%. So that's going to be proceeding. So you should start seeing, you know, things getting replaced. So that is moving forward. So we should start saving money on terms of the electricity usage in this building.
Are they gonna do the outside ones first?
I do not know the order. I just was told that they've been awarded it, they determined what it is, they determined how
So
much it's
changing the
going.
bulb's not the whole fixture.
No, they're changing the whole fixtures, but not every single fixture. So for instance, fixtures that are in the closet, the payback is like 85 years. We're not doing
Yeah.
things like that, but like the lights out front, the payback is between 11 and 12 months.
Yeah.
And then you start saving, so.
And these ought to be pretty quick too, except the cost of the fixture is now.
Yeah, well,
So, you know,
so, but we're getting
About 50% is being.
more,
paid
she
for.
said more than 50% back.
More than
So
50% of what?
50% of the total cost. So the
Ah.
utility's giving us a,
Oh, yeah, 50% of the total cost of initiating this program, or doing this program.
of
Right.
of replacing those
Replacing
things,
all the
yes.
lights
Not,
and
not
fixtures
50% reduction in the electric costs.
No,
Okay. Do we know
So-
how much that will be?
no, I didn't ask her that.
Okay.
But we can find out how much
it's
it
pretty
is.
substantial almost,
Is it?
going LED.
and- Yep.
I think it would be, but, you know.
So Trafford County, are we leaving it in, taking it out? What are we doing?
Well, I vote for leaving it in.
I think I would leave it in. One thing, if you mentioned the cost sharing,
Uh-huh.
how does that work? Did she explain, like, if we drop out, how does that impact the cost sharing?
Well, that means more of the dues of the other communities has to go, for example, to their federal grant, to
I
support
see.
their federal grant. I should say too, that there are 3 towns, there are 18 towns in the Stratford Regional Planning Commission. 3 of them do not pay dues. One is Brookfield, which is up near Wolfboro, which is
Yeah,
this
it's
tiny
very
little
small.
town.
Yeah.
And it's sort of out of the way in terms of Stratford Regional, I would say.
Yeah, it's in Carroll County.
Well, one is in, Nottingham doesn't pay either, although they're gonna pay this year, I was
Or in
told.
Rockingham County.
Right, but Rockingham, I mean, Newmarket's in Stratford Regional. So there are some Rockingham County towns in it. And the third one is Milton, and I just forgot to ask, why doesn't Milton join her? So I don't know anything about Milton. But I was told that Nottingham is probably gonna join because they have some good grant money for them or something, and to help them with some transportation projects in Nottingham.
Well, she came to the woman came to the Board of
Jennifer
Select.
says,
Yeah,
Yeah,
she,
she came to the Board of Selectmen's meeting, and she did a wonderful presentation.
yeah, she thought she received good support from the selectmen.
I guess I'll make a motion, Mr. Chairman. I move we leave it in the budget this year, but there be early on information about its effectiveness before the budget process starts next year.
I think that's a good idea. Second.
All in favor?
I
Write that down.
Aye.
just write that down.
All of it.
All decisions have to be written down and the vote has to be acknowledged. I think Tom's gonna
For Stratford
resign.
County Regional
I think Tom's gonna
Planning.
resign, his Jerry doesn't want that. job.
No,
I don't know why he
just
didn't.
these 2 meetings. That I have to write down.
Okay, so I'll move that back over.
Did we vote? Is it,
I think he did.
Yeah.
You said aye, all in
Yeah.
favor say aye.
Aye. And do it again.
Most people say aye.
Oh,
Everybody,
So-
aye?
We're okay with everything else in there
Okay.
too? Or not?
Yep.
Yep. Government buildings? You okay with everything in there? Yes? Yes? Yes?
I'm still writing.
Yes. Are you okay with everything in government buildings, Tom?
Yeah.
You are? You sure?
Yes.
Okay. Cemetery?
Is everything pretty bad on that?
Don't say that.
Does everybody understand where,
No.
who's doing what? No?
No.
Okay. Is the
The-
budget okay the way it
The
is?
SOP has been formalized, it's been sent to them, the board's in favor of it. The cemetery trustees have not responded yet. As I reported, I think last time, Mary Ann Banks has resigned.
But hasn't Donna asked to be on it? Hasn't Donna
They've
Eisenhower?
talked to that, we haven't appointed her yet, but,
Okay.
yeah. So that's the, Jackie and Jan Neal are the two that are on there right now. So we heard from them. We also forwarded Randy's concerns to them as well to let them address those. So that's as far as it is right at the moment.
At the moment, if it goes through the way that it's proposed, the budget should be okay, right?
Their budget should be okay, yes.
Okay, that was really good.
Yep.
That's where it's going.
Anything else in cemetery? Nope. Property insurance, property liability, it is what it is. I suspect that's gonna go up a little bit when we take possession this Friday of the parish house, but it shouldn't be that significant, so. Other government, that equates to a 3% increase. That's what the salary pool is. But that's what the 68,200 is based on the base salary of everybody. So we can be in favor of it or not in favor of it, but,
It is what it is, right?
well, it's a guideline that the selectmen set up, so I suspect what's gonna happen, part of it's going to be a cost of living increase, and the rest of it's gonna be used for incremental increases for exceptional employees. So either bonuses or merit increases. We haven't decided yet. So. We all set with it or no?
Yeah.
We can say no. Police department, we didn't move anything over because that's one of the departments that we have a request for additional staff. The other thing, just to let you know, which I think I mentioned last time, the police officer was filling the part-time position. He was working 39 hours, but he wasn't getting benefits. One of our police officers has left, so the chief has moved that person that was in that part-time position into that full-time position with benefits. So right
So-
now
So the part-time position is vacant.
is vacant at this particular time. So that's what the status is right now. But he's requested to have that particular position be increased to full-time. And I asked Julie, I don't know if everybody bought one, the implications for that particular change. So to put a new police officer with the retirements, the salary plus the retirement, Social Security, Medicare, health and dental, health for anticipating a family plan, long-term and short-term disability, and workers' comp, that cost was $84,652.
So how much of that is salary, Scott?
$45,989.
Okay.
That is netted against what the part-time person had, or part-time position is in there, and that was at $36,000. So you back out a total of about $39,370. The other thing, it says that right now he's requesting $15,000 for overtime. If this position gets approved, he can reduce that $15,000 by $10,000. So the net effect is about $35,000 or so.
Which is the change between his requested and.
Yeah. Well, the change is about 48, but I believe, isn't it?
Well, I'm only in favor of doing it if it's done by separate warrant article and let the town decide.
Oh, no, not 48, it's 457 to 548. So So that's 90, what is that?
You mean you put the,
I put it on as a special
43,
warrant article showing all the
92,000.
costs, what it costs, and let the town decide, it's their money, I mean, they're the ones paying the bill.
In relation to, like, because we're discussing all the things about the fire department and the police department and so forth, and the transfer center, as far as wanting, station, as far as wanting new employees. Can you put, for example, the police on as a warrant article, but grant the fire or the,
I put them all on.
or you put them all on?
That would be my
Can you
recommendation.
put some on and not others, or is it?
It's really up to the selectmen. It's
No,
their
I know,
decision.
I'm just wondering if that's
We
something.
can recommend anything that we want.
Okay,
They can hear what you have to say, and they can decide if they want to put it on or not.
Right,
so.
can you refresh my memory, did we give him an officer last year?
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah,
Okay. And the year before?
No.
I think it was a gap of a year.
It was Gavin?
Yeah.
Okay.
right.
So, yeah, we can do anything we want.
My question, I asked that question because I think I would agree with Alice and put the police in,
Well,
Oh,
so
like
I'm
a
gonna
warrant
I'm gonna
article.
recommend, if we do it with one, we do it with all.
I agree.
Okay, that's what I.
Well, I
agree.
would lump the fire and the police and the transfer station separately.
Yeah.
Well,
I know.
You mean one warrant article for all three of them?
No, I mean an article for each one.
Okay, yeah.
That's the only fair way
That's
to
the only way it
I'm
makes
not
sense.
saying
Yeah.
I'd necessarily do it with transfer station yet, I'm uncomfortable with that.
Well, do you want,
But what I was indicating and what I was thinking was that maybe we would, because I believe that there's a need at the fire station more than what, and they all need it, but more than even, at the police station right now. I want to be able, like, if we put them all in warrant articles, then there's a chance that the fire department isn't going to pass too, right? Because people may
Chance
not
none
vote
of them
for
are
it.
gonna pass.
Huh?
Chance none of them are gonna pass.
Right.
could be.
So that's why I'm saying I would be in favor of giving the fire department at least their full-time person that they're asking for and putting the others in a warrant article. If that's something that's possible
We
to
can do what we
do.
want. The other thing, I brought this just, usually I don't, but I brought this because, so that when we get done this process, we can get a good idea in terms of what the increases are gonna be and what the tax rate's gonna be. Because I think, just to let you know, the selectmen are, I don't want to use the word fearful, but concerned. Because right now, we're looking at an operating budget that's over 8% and a tax rate that's increasing by 6%. That is not gonna fly. And we are autonomous to that, so we can decide what we want to do. But personally, myself, I cannot support increases of that size. Something's gonna have to be tweaked or changed or whatever. I'm not against putting these all separate. But I think we need to look in terms of what that bottom line is, because I don't think any of us are comfortable with a 6% tax increase.
I guess my position is.
And I don't want to speak for you, but,
6% tax increase just for municipal?
yeah.
Yeah.
My position is if you don't put both of them in the budget, then you ought to put both of them as a warrant article.
Separate
Let the-
warrant.
And let the legislative body decide what they want.
Yeah, I agree.
And I'm just talking about the public safety ones right now.
Okay.
I'm talking about the transfer station.
Okay.
Can you break out bits of the operating budget and make a warrant article?
And we used to do it all the
Oh, you
time.
did? Okay.
You have to put, because what you can't do is, let's say, for instance, we'll just do the police department. You can't just put in, okay, warrant article that a new police officer is $84,000. That's not necessarily true, because if that passes, then there's $40,000 that can be removed from the budget. So you have to be open in terms of what that implication is, because, that's not being truthful to the voter. Really, it's not 85,000, it's really 35, 40,000 is really
Well,
the implication.
I think the warrant article should explain that.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying. You need to tell them all the information, not just that
I
part of
agree,
it.
absolutely.
And the same thing with the fire department. There's nothing necessary going away, but you gotta tell them all those costs, like the new full-time firefighter is a little over $40,000, but there's an extra almost $40,000 in terms of benefits and retirement. You have to tell them all that information.
I
So
agree, I agree.
you have to pull those numbers out of the other line items
Yeah,
so you can show exactly what that cost is.
yeah.
Because at least for the fire department, that's very deceptive.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
what-
agree.
oh, I voted for $40,000. Well, wait a minute, hold, time out. You've got an extra $40,000 of benefits you have to pay for too, so.
Well, that's why I think the legislative body should decide. I mean, I think the cost should be explained, because this is a long-term commitment. You know, it changes their tax burden, and it's only gonna go up every year, every personnel person you bring on. And people should know that and let them decide if they wanna spend the money or whatever.
And in terms of my point of view, the transfer station, I'm not in favor of doing that in the budget or as a separate warrant article.
Either one.
No.
So,
That's gonna
I
be
might
dead.
even be, my opinion is I might even be inclined, and I think Tom actually agrees, that he understands that there's other things that
Tom?
are.
Toby.
Or, no,
Toby.
Tom, I'm not talking about the
Brownsfield?
transfer station now, yeah.
oh,
Changed his
Switch,
sentence.
yeah, as far as the police, the transfer station, like everybody is saying, I think is probably off for this year as far as, but, Tom, I believe, understands as well that he knows he got a person last year, and he realizes there's a need over on the fire department side, and he made that clear. So, I'm even more inclined to have us decide on if we would approve of the firefighter. They're in need. They really, it's
Well,
lacking.
I mean, I think it's a good idea for
It's almost
the,
dangerous.
for
It's
the
not-
budget committee to say, take a vote on each one, but to present them to the voters, it just should be by separate warrant article, so that they know what they're buying, I say. But
Okay.
usually, certainly they can put underneath the warrant article, this has been approved by the Board of Selectmen and by the Advisory Budget Committee, or that they recommend passage of it, I guess is a better word. All right?
But there's still a chance that it won't pass,
That's what worries, remember we
right?
went through.
And
this
then
with
you're gonna have a
ours?
problem with the fire department, I'm telling you,
I know.
they are in need of this. They need it now.
Tom, I think you're gonna have a problem with the police department too, because they don't wanna work alone.
And I don't think
No.
we should.
Tom has made it clear that he will work with what he has, and
Yeah, but
with the
the people
changes that he's
work
made, that he will,
Because
do what
all
he
the
can
officers,
for this year.
what is the selectmen indicating?
Next
that,
year,
right?
they'll come again,
Next year.
I'm sure.
And indicating that that's one of the reasons people are leaving.
yeah, that's why we gave him an officer last year.
Yeah.
So, Pat, you
Try to
had
stop that.
something?
Well, I personally think that the hourly wages of the police are way too low.
Yeah.
And that's
Yes.
something that should be addressed by the board or by a committee that the board appoints or something.
The chief forwarded us information, and in terms of my review of it, they're paid just like the other people in the towns that are our size. There's no way we're gonna compete with a Portsmouth or a Dover.
I'm not expecting you to
So-
compete with a Portsmouth or a Dover,
But-
but I am expecting that people, for the risk they're taking,
Yep.
be paid on that basis, you know? I mean, what do they start off at, $22 an hour?
$22 an hour, yeah.
That's ridiculous, to me anyways. I wouldn't do the job for that, but I wouldn't do it for 30
I
either.
drive a plow truck that.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah,
Well,
that's what we just
they don't
upped
get
it
benefits,
to get them to come, yeah.
so,
What I was gonna
Go.
say was, a couple of years ago, we went through this with the cruiser, and we left it up to the voters. The voters turned the cruiser down, so then we ended up in a situation where we had the police department
yep,
was all out of whack with their cars, so we took that out of the warrant article and put it in the operating budget.
Yeah, but it shouldn't be.
I
In my
know,
opinion.
but from a management perspective, if,
It shouldn't be in the operating budget though, I mean, because it is a capital item or whatever.
I don't disagree with you, I'm just saying if we're, you know, you kind of walk a fine line between trying to get to where you need to be,
But I
and trying to
think
give the citizens an opportunity to vote on things. If we know the fire department needs this, say we take all these other numbers out and the budget increase, say the tax rate looks like it's gonna go up 3%. People are gonna look and go, okay, the budget went up 3%. I'm not voting on anything else. I'm not passing anything else.
Well, you vote on the budget, the actual total budget last. You do all the special warrant articles first.
No, not
No.
in
Not
SB2.
necessarily.
They're all
That
on
is-
the ballot.
It's all SB two,
Yeah.
it's all.
It is all SB2, I agree. My only point is that,
I don't disagree with you.
okay,
I'm torn between trying to make sure the town gets to where it needs to be,
You're gonna end
and that
up
we
with
leave the
people
voters an
on town
opportunity
with
to
the-
decide on things as well.
well, here's what I would say also is, I don't think we're giving the chief of police and the fire chief enough credit. Because they can certainly, I mean, they made wonderful presentations to us. They can do the same thing at the deliberative session and convince people of the need.
But 50 people come to the deliberative session and 500 people vote.
65, let's
Yeah.
not, 65.
Yeah.
Well, there are other methods, they can do it through the Lee Town
The
Crier.
SB2 is the
Wait a
depth of
second.
all
I
of
don't-
this.
I don't think
Attend
that
the
the chief
deliberative
of
session.
police or the fire chief should have to write a bazillion things in the e-crier and give a bunch of persuasive
They already did.
arguments.
They've already done it.
Yes, but you're suggesting if we put a warrant article, they should have to do it again and then convince the populace of Lee to vote for, to give them more people. I'm sorry, but I don't think that the general population of Lee is gonna get that information and make a decision based on the actual need of the police department and the fire department.
So you're saying
They don't have the
that,
same information.
so you're
I'm-
saying that they're not smart enough to make their own choices
Yes,
about their
that's
money?
exactly what I said.
No,
Well,
well, that's really what you're saying.
No, what I
Well, not
said
really,
was,
but-
no, what I said was, they didn't sit here and listen to those presentations. They're not reading these reports. And that having a deliberative session where 65 people are gonna show up and the e-crier where someone may or may not read an article is very different than looking at something going, oh God, we don't have the money for it. You know, you're voting, a lot of people are gonna vote with their wallet. They're not gonna vote based on actual need.
Yep.
And this is a safety issue, in my opinion. I don't think a police officer should be working alone. I'm the daughter of a retired cop. I certainly wouldn't want my father to have been working alone. And it's a safety issue. And I'm sorry, but I don't think a warrant article that's this big is going to prevail that information. I
So-
certainly don't think the town is stupid,
I see.
and I don't appreciate that.
Well, that's what you're saying, is that they're not capable of making up their own minds, and you
They
need to
don't.
lead them down the path.
It's not what she's saying.
I think that the issue is the lack of people checking out what they're voting on.
Yes.
Well, that's, you know, that's always been the case, though, hasn't it?
Well,
Great, so that's why they elected people to listen to all the information and make decisions.
That's not true.
I don't think we should be backing down from recommending something.
We can sit here all night long and debate this issue. I think the majority of us on this committee, not unanimously, but the majority of us think that they ought to get both positions. I can tell you right now, the selectmen are looking at the bottom line and a percentage, and they're not going to give them both positions.
Right.
They've already kind of made that pretty clear. So I think what the budget committee probably should do is take a vote. If the selectmen are not going to include both positions in the budget, then both positions should be warrant articles, so that that way they.
And we can make that
would say
suggestion and-
Because we can say as the advisory budget committee, we think they both should be in the budget. The selectmen can cut them out and not even put them in as a warrant article.
That's right.
so-
Well, it could always be petitioned, too. I mean,
And I
people
would-
could petition.
I would go a step further and say I would push for the fire department position. I think it's needed, and there's going to be a problem.
I mean, they're both needed.
Tom has already stated that he would be okay and would work with what he has. The other
Tom.
is
We'll send you out on a midnight patrol, we call for a shooting incident on legal.
and we'll send you on a fire
Which
call when
happened not
there's
too long
one
ago.
person responding or nobody responding to someone in need that needs to be rescued in the.
Anyway,
So,
I make
I'm
my
just saying,
I make
there's
my-
both ways.
statement in the form of a motion.
I thought the fire department wanted a full-time and a part-time.
They do, and
I just wanted to-
I'm saying at least
Okay.
give them one, at least give them something.
I make,
Oh, can I just give the information, because I'm negligent. The part-time one in the fire department is $36,417 for a total of $41,432 with all the benefits and It's really no retirement, it's just social security and stuff like that. So that's the two positions for a total of $121, $121,172. So, I'm sorry, but go ahead.
I make a motion that as an advisory budget committee, we recommend that the selectmen include those two positions in the budget. If they do not, that they put them both on the special warrant articles.
So I guess my question is, Brian, are you talking about 3 warrant articles?
Yeah,
One for the
second.
full-time
Whoa,
policeman,
whoa,
one for
whoa,
the
whoa,
full-time
wait.
fire?
Point of order, there's a motion on the
She's
table.
clarifying it, so.
No, she can't do that. She has to get, you have to get a second here. Or we're not talking about it, or,
I'll have Bob second it
okay. Then Alex can do it.
now.
So you're talking about 3 warrant articles or 2 warrant articles?
2.
So would the part-time be included with the full-time for the fire department?
Boy, it's complicated, isn't it?
Well, you know,
I know what you're saying.
yeah, okay, yeah.
Were the selectmen going to give them the part-time person in the budget anyway?
I don't want to tell you what we talked about. That will take you. You want me to take you? I'll take you. You want me to take you?
Yes.
I'll just,
Does everybody want to be taken?
can I guess?
You can guess all you want. Go ahead. What are you guessing?
I'm guessing that you would probably give them the fire department, the full-time position, and not anything else. Not the police, not the.
There you go.
Except-
There you go.
Okay,
That's been the discussion because we are, as you said, Brian.
because you know the need.
Concerned about the bottom line. There's over $400,000 that have been added, $399,000 that's additional this year. That's too much. We cannot be behind that particular thing. I'm not adverse to putting them on separate warrant articles. Personally, I don't know if the other two are gonna do that. So, but the thing that we have to remember, which I will tell you again, we can do whatever we want. If you feel that it should be a separate warrant article, tell them that. Don't be afraid of they'll saying, no, we don't wanna do
Well, I'm
that.
trying to decide, I'm trying to figure out Alice's question. Is it 3 warrant articles or 2?
It's 2. What he's saying is, what I think Al's saying, want the fire together. There'd be what? There'd be 1 warrant article for the police and 1 for the fire, and unfortunately, that's,
I would think if you wanted to do the part-time fire, you'd probably have that one separate.
I agree.
yeah.
Yeah.
So it'd be 3.
So if you
But not the transfer station. That's not even.
think we're,
Well, I'm basically looking at the full-time people, and it's kind of really what I was looking at.
well, you have a motion for the two, the fire full-time and the police full-time, and you've got a second.
Police
I don't-
part-time, right?
Police full-time.
Yeah, police full-time.
Just full-time.
Yeah, make
It's
another
changing the
motion.
part-time.
Oh, change the
Change the
part-time to
part-time.
full-time, the difference is,
Yeah.
okay.
So you have, I don't know if you want to amend that to include the part-time fire person in there or not, but that's,
Do I want
Do you
to amend it?
wanna
No.
amend
I'm just asking that you can have a separate motion if you want to.
Or we could amend the motion.
You
couldn't
could
we?
amend the motion.
I amend it to be 3 warrant articles.
Well, that's what it was gonna be.
Oh, I thought you said 2.
I made mine on 2 full-time people, then someone can make a motion for a warrant article on a part-time firefighter.
Well, that's what I'm doing, I'm amending your motion to include the warrant
Oh,
article
okay.
on the part-time fire.
Okay, all
Is
right.
that a friendly amendment? Do the full?
Yes?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so you got the 3. Any more discussion?
Well, I think we still have to take a stand as a committee, do we not, as to how we feel about these proposals.
This is just recommend, the committee is voting to recommend to the selectmen
Did it be in the
that
budget?
it be in the
If it's not
budget.
in the budget, then it'd be a separate, there'd be 3 separate warrant articles.
Right,
1 for a full-time police officer, 1 for a full-time firefighter, and 1 for a part-time firefighter.
yeah. And if,
That's it?
and you don't need to, the selectmen don't need to accept our recommendation, they
That's
can do
right.
what they want, but
Right.
that's what we
They
could
can choose
recommend.
not to
Yep.
put anything on a warrant article.
I agree with you,
Yep.
Yeah.
so.
But people have the right to petition. If the
Yes.
selectmen don't include it, they can, people could certainly, it only takes what? 10?
25.
25 now?
25.
25 signatures of voters to put it on the warrant.
No.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 All right, so I will remove those and put it as a warrant article. So we already talked about, the full-time firefighter is a total of 79,740. The part-time firefighter is 41,432. The full-time police officer is a combination of three things. One, the position itself is 84,652, a reduction, because it's replacing the part-time, of 39,370, and a further reduction of 15,000 in the overtime police budget.
I thought it was 10,000.
Yeah.
What did I just say?
15.
He needs 15, if he doesn't get it, he needs 5 if he does. Isn't that what
Right,
it says?
Yeah,
right.
10
So it's
less.
10,000.
Yeah,
$10,000 change, so 10,000. So I will put that in as a warrant article and remove those from the lines above.
Well, aren't we recommended that it be in the budget? So
Yeah,
why
but-
are we taking them out?
So basically, that will be moved from the police and fire lines, so
This is-
specifically,
Us
Or is it-
recommending to the select board.
Yeah,
where
So
is
it's our
it?
recommendation.
In the
Right.
summary,
It's not necessarily what they're gonna do.
it would be reducing lines 15
taking it out of our recommendation.
and lines 13
Just
and
taking it out.
line 7, personal administration. So the positions are in 13 and 15, and all the benefits are in number 7. Okay?
I want to make another motion. Can I make another motion? I want to move that we don't reduce the overtime by 10,000 and that we only reduce it by 5,000 for the police department. I think he's going to need it.
Second.
But are we leaving it at 15 if he doesn't get anybody?
Yes.
Okay.
It would stay at 15 if he doesn't get the officer,
Yeah.
the full-time officer.
I
Yes.
thought we voted that we wanted to leave the positions in, and if the select board didn't put them in, we wanted them as warrant articles.
That's correct.
Okay, so why would we take them out of the budget that we're recommending?
Because you're
That's what
Your
the question was,
That was
right?
Rebecca's question.
You're
Yeah, exactly.
No one's answered
recommending
it
them as
yet.
warrant articles, aren't you?
No, we want them to be in the budget.
Well, as
Oh, okay.
In the budget.
warrant
In the
articles are
budget.
still in the
But
budget.
if they're not in the budget, if you decide to take them out of the budget, we want them as warrant
Oh,
articles.
good, you just saved me a whole bunch of work.
Yeah, yeah.
All right.
Great.
That's what, that's, I was like,
I suspect you're gonna have to do the work.
that is true.
I suspect you might really work.
It won't be me, it'll be somebody else. All right. In budget.
Now, so
Broken out.
what you're suggesting, Allison, I want to make, you're suggesting that the selectmen also understand that we think he needs more money in the overtime budget anyway.
Yes.
If he gets the
What is it?
position,
Hmm?
if he gets the position.
Even if he gets
Yeah,
the
even
position,
if
I
If he
think
doesn't
it
get
needs
the
10,000.
position, he needs it worse if he doesn't get the position.
Oh, I see what you mean. So no change in terms of the overtime rate.
Only if he gets the position.
Then it goes down by 5,000.
But she's saying she wants it
That's what she
down
said.
by 5 instead of 10.
Yes.
Right,
Okay.
That's correct.
yeah.
Okay.
But we didn't vote on that. I
No,
don't think.
you got a second though?
Second.
All in favor?
Oh, discussion.
Aye.
I
All
don't
right.
know if they're-
discussion?
I don't know if they're discussing or
No.
Does everybody understand?
Yes.
Or- Yeah,
I
okay.
think so.
So, now I gotta write that down. So,
Yep.
What,
But if they get the guy, we decrease their overtime budget by 5,000, not 10,000,
Okay,
as suggested by
correct.
the chief.
if full-time employees,
I want to make another motion.
Just a
Well,
motion machine over
I,
there.
I want the advisory budget committee to recommend to the selectmen that the board set up some sort of ad hoc committee to look at the hourly wages of the police department and in attempts to raise them. I mean,
It is kind of silly that the police officers are making as much as the guys plowing the snow.
it is, isn't it rather ridiculous? Yes. Do I get a second?
I'll second that.
any discussion?
Aye.
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 Okay. Recommend to selectmen.
You know, Tom, you only get one piece of paper from me.
Thanks, we better get done with,
See, Tom, what you really need to do is you need to tell the selectmen, as the chairman of this committee, you want a recorder, and then have the town secretary type up the minutes.
Well, I thought we
That's what
were
you
being
do.
recorded.
We are.
We are, so they
Isn't
could.
that what she normally does, is she does it, oh, she doesn't
No,
do
she
that?
takes it off.
I've submitted them
I
the
see.
last
She
couple.
takes them off the tape recorder that she
Oh,
does, well,
okay.
it's not tape, it's digital. But then she plugs it in and she sits there and listens, and goes back and forth and things, you know. She can't do that with this.
So recommend to selectmen to review the police department wages.
Yes,
And
well, from my perspective.
adjust as,
Yeah, that they should be adjusted upward.
okay, are we through the police?
I don't know,
What do we have?
other
for-
than that discussion, are we okay with the rest of their budget requests?
Everybody all set with it?
Yep.
Yeah, all right.
Well, I'm hoping that their electric costs go down.
Then in the fire department,
Yeah, but you can't lower the bill until they get the new lights.
I know.
Changing the lights.
But by July 1st, they should be changed. Right?
well, it should be starting now, so
Yeah,
you
okay.
should see it in this fiscal year. Dispatch, police and fire, so Stratford County and Durham,
Are gonna be a dead horse.
okay?
We're paying more to dispatch the fire department. We have fewer dispatches than we had to dispatch the police department.
But did you read his
I
letter?
did read his letter.
Yeah.
I did read his letter, but it
Yeah.
doesn't mean, it doesn't make any sense to me.
Well, we monitor our alarms too, so,
Monitor the alarms, you'd have to get a different frequency, you'd have to pay for that, you'd have to, and they're working together with,
Well, how do the police and fire in town talk to each other? They just do that on radios?
they can switch from the digital to the analog right on their radio, because their radios are, so Scott and Tom can talk to each other. They go, bloop,
Yeah, I understand
And
that.
so-
So what kind of radios is he buying? Analog or digital?
they do both still.
They buy both?
No.
No,
Radio will
they do both.
frequencies
Oh,
now.
I see,
New
okay,
technology
sorry.
will do both
You-
frequencies.
Okay, okay.
Yeah. And the new ones will be able to, as he said in the.
I'm just looking at the
The
dispatch.
Wi-Fi and so forth.
That's all.
What is the, how much is the difference?
$1,400.
Difference between Stratford and
Stratford's $1,400 cheaper.
1,400 cheaper? Yeah, and they don't do just fire. Like he explained in his letter, the fire departments that have gone over to Stratford have to have their own frequency and their own, all their own
Who
setup.
is that?
I shut mine off.
So they don't pay.
Had some trouble with the electronic
Oh, no.
ones.
There's a few different reasons anyway, according to him.
I'm just pointing out,
Yeah, yeah.
but I'm all set with it.
All right,
We can't change it at this time
Can't change
anyway.
it.
No.
It doesn't, when we talk to the guys about it, they don't seem interested in changing it either.
okay. All right, move those two over. Ambulance, McGregor,
Goes over.
Yeah, it goes over, it's
Can you
just,
do-
it's cheap, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
page 7.
Because if you don't use that,
Fire
then you're
department,
gonna have a full-time 24-hour fire department.
we did fire department?
No, we're on page 7. Well, fire department's
It's
at
the
the
top
bottom of
of-
page 6, yeah.
Right, yeah.
Fire department,
So, okay.
Cover everything.
Fire department, based on my motion, you move it over as it is. And then if the
are we
selectmen
okay with that?
The selectmen aren't gonna accept it, then
Because
Okay.
we were only questioning the positions,
Okay,
right?
move everything over for the fire department, okay? Code enforcement,
Don't throw anything there.
no, you okay with that? Emergency management? No? Yes? No?
Fine.
Everybody, yeah?
I mean,
Highway department?
This was really Randy's budget, right?
Yeah.
Really Randy's budget, yeah. The only change that I know, and he hasn't told us, or hasn't told the selectmen, now that he's going to be doing the,
Who he, Steve?
Steve Bullock, the mowing for the cemeteries, he wants some more money for fuel.
for what?
Fuel, for like gas and stuff. And I don't know how much that is. I don't think we're talking about tons of money, but that's the only thing that I've heard.
Shouldn't be too significant, right?
I'm thinking hundreds of dollars, not anything more. I don't know what that number is. That's the only thing that would be
So
changing.
is it under fuel? I mean, because it was, they're asking for a $500 increase.
Gas?
Yeah,
Oh, it's under gas?
I believe so. Because it's for the mowers. I don't, yeah. He's asking, the budget this year is 5940, and he's asking, well, Randy asked for 5940 again. But I suspect it's gonna be increasing a little bit. So that's the only change I know about in the highway.
Uh-huh.
I wonder why. Does he think it's gonna take more to mow all those?
I cannot speak to that.
Okay.
That's the only thing.
The salary that's in here for Randy is what we were paying Randy. We're not paying Steve the same, are we?
Paying him more.
Paying them more.
You're paying him less at the moment,
I
but you
thought we
will
were
be.
paying less at the
You
moment.
at the moment, but when
But then it
this
goes
budget
up
comes into effect, you'll be
$2,000.
paying them about what this is.
Okay, okay. So
So,
there's
yes.
no distortion there.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Anything else?
Good.
Yep, okay. Transfer station?
Station. Do we wanna talk about that, or do we wanna, have we already?
Sounded like we weren't in favor of it, but
Well, I'm not in
So-
favor of a lot of stuff in here.
I'm not either.
Because it seems like a lot of the bulk waste prices are somewhat inflated.
we're having to,
They're all changing.
yeah, we're having to pay for a lot of stuff that before that we were getting money for. With this whole thing with China with paper, but all the recyclable stuff is down, so we're not getting as much revenue, which is not
All of
necessarily.
All of it? Aluminum and everything?
A lot of, there's a couple, and I don't told me, I think it's, aluminum is one, there's,
Aluminum, I think he was still making.
and it's not
Yeah.
glass, it's something else, newspapers.
Newspapers?
Yeah, there's two of them that
Cardboard.
are up, the rest of them's all down.
Cardboard?
I don't think it's cardboard. it's-
Okay. So can I ask about his wages? I mean, just,
Where?
have the selectmen agreed to this?
What is it? What?
Well, he wants to go from like 48,000 to 53, and I'm just curious, is that something that the selectmen have planned or whatever?
No,
Where is,
I think it's the manager, right?
Yeah, he's the manager.
The
Yeah.
conversation about hiring a civil engineer to be right around
Kind of
the
right in the middle.
swap shop told me.
oh,
everything.
full-time, manager, okay,
I think
thank
it's
you.
over, yeah.
So did he did that then?
it's a
Yeah.
request.
He,
He'd like a raise.
he requested a raise?
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that you, I
No.
mean, maybe you'll give him a little and,
Maybe,
Doesn't
well,
it come-
maybe you won't.
Is that, so the line item earlier said that was 3%, and you guys use it for raises and stuff, does that not include him?
Well, he's asking for more.
yeah, but the 3% is included in any of these numbers we're seeing. It's
Right.
on that one line.
No, I'm saying, but like, was he included in that, like, cost of living, $66,000?
Yeah, this is his
Yeah.
This is
idea.
an additional
Yes.
raise above the cost of living?
Yeah, yes. He's
So it
requested.
was 48 with Roger, 48,872 or whatever, is that what that means?
The,
And then it went down to 45 with Toby,
uh,
and then it went up to 47?
I don't remember yeah. I don't remember it because.
Is that the year, 2000
Yeah, that's the fiscal year.
of, so that must have been Roger?
So the 45, and whatever it
Because
is,
it wouldn't go down,
that
obviously.
was July 1st, 2017 to June 30th, 2018.
So part of that was Roger.
So part of it,
Roger, his last day was June 17th, 2017, June 2017.
Oh.
so
he's
why
been
would it
gone-
be,
oh, maybe- was he
He
gone?
hasn't been on that one, has he?
He's been gone a year.
Yeah.
Yeah. he's been gone a
one year, I think,
Okay.
probably
Yeah.
about.
Because this is the second
So,
presentation.
I just
so-
don't understand, it
So
was 48,8,
that's Roger.
and then it went, okay, so that was Roger.
45 is Toby.
45, it went down to
Yeah,
Toby.
in 2019, Toby got an increase, cost of living, I don't remember what
To
else. was in-
47.9?
Something else.
Yeah. Yeah,
But that cost of living is in this budget, not
Right.
that
another
was
line item.
this current year's cost of living increase.
Okay,
So the cost of living that's the 68,200 is for 2020's budget, 2020 fiscal year 2020.
And how much would that be?
I,
Or any
well, take his
estimate,
salary
or-
and do
Do
3%. But that's,
So the 47,940 really would, with the 3% is what it's,
that's not.
should be over here.
The
Well, no,
budget,
he's asking for more, that's
He's
all.
asking. for
Right.
more.
he's asking for.
I'm just saying, what would it be? Like, it wouldn't be 53, it would be, you know,
49.
He's not
50
necessarily,
or something, or
49 something.
the
49 something?
the
Yeah.
3% salary pool is generated by the base salary of everybody. That's how we got that particular number. We aren't necessarily giving everybody 3%.
Oh, okay.
We have not determined what that base amount is, that 2%, 3%, whatever it's gonna be, because we could say, oh, we're giving everybody 3%, we're all done. But I think what we're gonna
But you
do
go
is,
through and you actually say, okay, this person deserves,
yeah, we
Yeah, we're not
reviewed
at
the
3%.
the evaluations of all the staff. And this last meeting, we did evaluations of all the department heads. And at the next board meeting, we're gonna go through that particular exercise. We're gonna have the department heads come in, we're gonna talk to them about their evaluation, and after that, we're gonna decide who gets what. So we have a spreadsheet with all this on it.
okay.
Okay, so
So
this
there's
is
a lot
weird to
more
me.
to it.
So this is weird to me, so you guys should be the ones deciding that. I think we should make it level, and then that can be part of your 3%.
It should be the same as it was last year, yeah, for
Yeah.
us, don't you think?
What do you
Yeah.
mean?
Well, I don't think we should go with the 53,000,
Yeah.
because I agree it's up to the selectmen to set that salary, not
Yeah.
up to the advisory
But-
budget committee. So I think we should move over the 47,940.
I
Okay.
agree.
Yes.
And then if you wanna give them a raise out of the 3%, $66,000, you guys can
Okay.
give them whatever you want.
Has he done the same thing with the wages of the full-time wage line, the 73,280? Does that include,
Well, let's look at, because, where's the, what line is that? I'm gonna say.
the one right below Toby?
Right, oh, okay. So there's two people in there.
Has he-
Full-time, right?
Yep.
One of them's the one he
Wages.
wants and one's the one he has, right?
Ooh, I don't have, I don't have that. Do we
He has
have-
a part-timer that he wants to put to full-time.
And do away with the part-time position, is that? Because I don't see a part-time position in here,
That's
all.
what he was doing. He was gonna, he has two part-timers, one do away with one and make the other one full-time.
He doesn't have a line in here
Two
for them.
full-time.
Not do away with them, but,
Make them both
No.
full-time.
No,
no,
one full-time,
full-time.
one part-time
And
instead of
keep
two
the one
part-time.
part-timer.
Yeah, because
Well-
we're gonna have to tweak, because he has,
It says
It's-
full-time wages, and it says 73,280.
that is the additional person that he's asking for. So the only real one that he has right now is $38,188.80. So really, if you want to exclude the full-time hire, you have to reduce that from the 73,280 back to probably the 38,952.58.
Yes.
Yes, I agree with that.
Yes.
Okay.
But then the part-time, which is on the back of this piece of paper,
Yep,
the last thing on the back of this piece of paper was reduced from 41 to 24, so that's gotta go back to 41.
yes, if you reject, yes, you would. So you
Let
wanna
me
make
ask-
that, go ahead.
Let me ask a question on that 41. What's he paying per hour for that part-time?
It's like 16 or something, Brian.
Something like that.
Something that you wouldn't work at the
Yeah,
dump for.
we made it 15, I think, last year, and I think he increased it a little bit, and he can't find anybody.
You can't even hire anybody, yeah.
Well, no, he can hire
You got
people, but
someone
they
to
don't,
come, but then they left.
they don't stay.
Right.
Do you want to increase that wage?
Don't know.
Where did we get Toby from? Did he work for us before?
He was there.
He worked for us before.
He worked for
He worked for Roger?
Roger, yeah.
Yep. And he has had his own business. He lives like almost next door to me, and I didn't know that.
Really?
Yeah, because he was talking about something. There's one, we live on a cul-de-sac, and the people that have the border with his property, they were doing something. I said, so-and-so, blah, blah, blah. Oh, yeah, I know them. Oh, yeah, blah, blah. And come to find out, he lives right off Wildwood Falls, right? So he backs up to the property and said, I didn't know you lived. Yeah, I've lived there forever. It's like, oh. Has nothing to do with anything.
You
So-
know what they close?
Spencer Lane,
Oh,
across from Plummer.
Do you think if we increase that wage slightly, he'd be able to hire someone?
So how much is
That's
the,
what
I
I'm
mean, how many
wondering. If
hours,
you- if
how
you
many,
don't-
how many hours is the part-time person supposed to work? Do you know?
I don't know off the top of my head.
Okay.
I'm treading because there's other things going on. I
Okay?
can't. I
Okay.
think wages are part of it. That's definitely part of it. I think there's other things going on that I'm not at liberty to go into. But they are, I believe it's 16. I'm sorry, I can't tell you about it.
It just
But-
makes it hard for us to.
I know. I'll tell you what I can tell you,
Decide.
and I can't tell you what I can't tell you. So,
That's helpful.
yeah, well, sorry.
That's
I
okay.
could just not say anything, and then
So it's just, so, but it's not the wages, is what you're saying. It's not just the wages.
partially it is, yes. Because the thing is, it's not attracting, you got two things working against you, Rebecca. One, it's $15, $16 an hour, and then look where you're looking, look where you're
Where
working.
you're working.
You're working out in the weather,
Yeah,
you're working
no, I
with
agree.
dirty
It's a
trash and
crappy
stuff.
job.
People that want that kind of work are not gonna do that. You're gonna have to pay them like $30, $40 an hour to go in there. Right now, what he gets is people who don't have anything else to do, or they're interested, just to get a job. The person that he had there previously, he was older, and he could not do the work. He was not physically able. He was there, hired one day, he started, the next day
He
he
was
came
an
in and
older
said,
gentleman. He was,
Yeah.
so,
but you're not getting.
and he didn't
the
really
cream
wanna
of the
do
crop.
that
Yeah.
You're getting people who are,
in the winter.
yeah.
So how
And-
do we?
I wouldn't want to work there, because you go out there, as you've all been there, you go into even in the upper deck of the transfer station building there, it's a wind tunnel.
Yeah,
Here it is.
When it's 20 degrees, you freeze your,
yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Can anything be done to correct that?
now I talked to Toby about, there's nothing you can do other than closing the doors, and you can't do that, because then how
No,
people
you're
are
right.
gonna get in.
You can't, yeah.
Um,
Could you,
And it's not,
could you,
and we've got like one of the state-of-the-art transfer stations.
I know.
And you know how we used to do it? You used to back your car up in the elements and take your stuff off and, so it's a much improvement, but
It
it's
is.
still not great. So maybe if
As far
people,
as working there.
as far as working,
It's
well,
great to go up and unload your
I
stuff.
wonder, we always have the same question, how do other communities attract people to work at their places?
they don't.
I think
Everybody's got the same problem, okay.
I think-
And right now, the unemployment rate is so.
Would it be
it's
safe
like-
to say that there's enough money in the contingency budget that if you needed to raise that a couple bucks an hour?
Yep.
You could.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
that's part of, one of the things we're gonna talk about is contingency. Usually we put in 20,000, so. But yeah, I will tell you this, there's a person that he has there working part-time. And one of the things that they're interested in is getting benefits. So that's what part of this is trying to address, in terms of hiring somebody on a full-time
That's
position
why
to get
it was
benefits.
full-time.
Then that particular person, I'm not saying that person's gonna leave, but that would give that person more incentive to stay. So it's not an easy decision. And the thing is, you have to balance, how much are you gonna pay to get that particular service? And traditionally, we've not paid too much. We just raised it from 12 or something to 15, and you put ads in the paper and you got nobody. And we've done it numerous times. He has more success, oh, do you know Joe or whoever, and then he gets somebody to come in, but they're not gonna stay very long.
So what is the actual cost of a full-time person? That's not
Well-
$38,000, it's something else.
Yep, well, for instance, just to, full-time position in a transfer station for what he wants to pay. He wants to pay him an annual wage, which is hourly, of course, $34,327.
Based on
That's
around
not very much.
17.
So with all the benefits,
It's like
that
60.
cost
Property.
goes
That's
to
what I wanted.
$65,640. So it's an increase of $31,000. And the biggest part of that is health insurance. The cost for health insurance for a family, because that's what we usually do, is $22,244 a year.
And did we pay all of that?
Yeah.
We pay all of that?
Yeah.
We pay everybody's health insurance
No, no, no,
100%?
no, no, not, that's what we pay for health insurance.
Okay, but
So-
that's not what the town pays, because doesn't the employee pay some of it?
Yes,
Okay,
Yes.
that's what I was trying to ask,
yes. So we get some of that back, but not that much.
right.
So, but that's the gist of it. When you start paying, for benefits more than 100% in this particular thing, more than 100% of what the salary is, how many times can you do that? You can't. So,
Is there any thought to, so the two part-time people are $41,000.
38.
Well, this says 41.
Well, it's only one full-time person. In terms of part-time, he's got 2 or 3
He
that
does?
come and go.
Oh, okay.
Right now, I think he's at 2 because one just left.
So this 41,000 represents 3 people?
So, potentially, yes.
But then
Potentially.
he's put it down to 24/7 if he gets a full-time person.
Which is 1 part-time person or 2 part-time people?
I believe,
God, I hope it's only one, that's what I was thinking.
24, could be 1 or 2, or maybe 1.5. See, the problem, people come and go. He very rarely has somebody at the start of the fiscal year that continues through the year. It's transient, very transient.
So, so how many people are you supposed to have to operate it?
4. Well,
4?
2 full-time and 2 part-time.
2 full-time and 2,
That's what
Part-time.
he's had.
and that is, does that include him?
Yes.
Okay, okay.
Years
So-
ago, we had way more,
Oh, you did?
yes.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got, he's definitely there full-time.
Yep.
And then, so right now we have 2 people there part-time?
Yes,
Okay.
I believe. we've
And he
got-
wants to make one of those full-time?
Right.
Yes.
And then does he want to add another part-time person?
Yeah, he's requesting pay increases for his, well, wait a minute.
No, he must already have a full-time
He's a
person.
part-time person that would go away. That's the reduction of the 20.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, so he would only have 1 part-time person and 2 full-time people plus himself,
Right.
is that right?
But he's got,
But that would, so that's the same number of personnel, 4, right, running it?
if you want to think of it that way, I think of it more of what his hourly budget is, that's what his hourly budget. If you can get 2 people, that's great. If you can get 1, because right now he's got Cheryl's husband, Jeff,
Jeff, yep,
and he's good. I like him.
yeah,
Oh, yeah.
he's the one he wants to put to the front.
Yeah. And of course, Jeff and Cheryl, yay, I'm going.
And they're,
But-
yeah,
but so-
they've
but-
been in town for a number of years
Yeah,
and
sure,
they-
Cheryl,
they've,
Cheryl grew up in this town.
right,
Yep. She knows where all the skeletons are buried too, so.
yeah. So, yeah.
I guess my question is,
So in the grocery store.
is if we take and get rid of the part-time wages and just make it 1 full person and have it be a lot less of a hit? That's my question. Would that mean that we'd
Take
actually
away
have people?
one
Get rid of
part-time.
all the part-time positions and make it full-time?
Your cost would go up significantly.
Well, I wouldn't go up significantly, it's only goes up about $20,000.
Well, it goes up because of the benefits.
No, what you said it was 65 with the benefits and the salary.
Yeah.
Get rid of all the part-time, that's $41,000.
Well, I don't, you need 4 full-time people then.
Down there,
Yeah.
you need 4 people
I
to
don't
run
think
the.
You need, to fill the hours, you'd need,
How do you need 4, because you just said he has 2 full-time and 2 part-time.
Yeah, the part-time people, I think, are more than the full-time
he's
position.
one of the,
Okay, so the
He's
part-time people
one
are
of
more
the
than half,
full-time.
that's my question.
yeah.
They're more, if you think about FTEs, I suspect they're more than
Okay.
1 FTE. So in terms of
There's
the
no way
number
to
of
get rid of that.
FTEs, if that's what you're asking, I think we're looking at more like 3 and something. Probably 3.5, maybe. I'm not sure in terms of when you say,
You know what I'm saying, like,
$41,000 in terms of hourlies, I don't know how many FTEs that equates to, because it's hard to figure out, because you've got somebody that's there for 2 or 3 months, and they leave, and he's got overlapping people. He's also have people on call, like Larry, well, I don't like to use names, but there's a person in town that comes in and covers. Well, how do you count him? Because you don't know when he's gonna be covering. So I can't
Don't
answer
you
your question.
include that, in whatever
well,
you're paying
from
him?
the notes that he told us,
Yeah,
they were each working 22 hours.
Right.
So that's
Which is more
44 hours, which is only 4 hours
Oh,
shy
right.
of having enough people. I mean, I know he wants more hours because of all the positions.
Yeah.
I mean, I worked out the math, but, I mean, I would suggest 2 things. That if the only way to keep somebody there so that it runs on time is I would get rid of both part-time positions, make it 1 full-time, which I know is an increase, but it's not as big as it looks here. And maybe we have to do fewer hours at the dump. I mean, if we don't have people to cover it, maybe it's, I have no idea what hours.
well,
It's Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday,
Yeah, but what's the hours?
and then.
It's 8 to 6.
8 to 6.
oh, it's really 7, but, But the other thing that I think I can tell you is he's not doing what he needs to do, because right now, the coverage on the upper deck, I don't know if you've gone there, there's usually nobody there.
Nobody there,
Right.
and nobody ever there.
So that's a problem for two things, customer service wise, but also liability. One of the things that we've noticed, and I have to be careful here, one of the things we noticed is children and or animals up there doing all kinds of stuff. Children especially.
They bring their kids.
One of the selectmen has witnessed a child standing on top of the wall with the, where you put the glass in.
Throwing the bottles in.
Yep. So that is a liability for the town. If that child slips and falls into glass, who's responsible? It's not the parent, it's the town. That's gonna be costly.
I think it
So
should
if
be
you don't
the
have
parent.
anybody there saying, no, little boy, little girl, get down from there, you can't be up there or talk to their parent, that's a problem. So he's got the people that he's got, but I don't think he's got enough of the people, because there's nobody up there covering that. So,
So when it's open.
Even just people pulling up in line, everything, it's like, you know, when I'm there, I'm trying to help people and tell them, this is what we do.
which is, you know,
But it's a, you know,
Roger has pluses and minuses. One of the pluses he had is he was very good in terms of being up on that thing,
Yeah, I agree.
talking to people.
I agree.
One of the things,
Truck.
he knew the dogs by name.
Yeah,
He gave them out biscuits, which is very customer friendly, but
Yeah.
also he helped the people that couldn't get,
did.
there's certain people that can't.
I agree, he
Yeah.
did,
and
he was
helped
very
them. So it was
good.
very good. Right now,
Yeah.
that is not happening.
No.
But the thing that concerns me is the safety of the people that are up there, especially the little kids.
How did Roger manage that and still get the work done?
There was no way he was working 40 hours a week.
No, he wasn't,
He was working way more than 40 hours a week.
so. But
The dump is open 8 to
Roger's
6.
not there anymore, so.
I'm just saying, you know,
it is now, it used
he
to
was
be
able
till
to do
5
it
or whatever, and
with
they
this number of
extended the hours 'cause
people.
people got out of work, I mean.
No, maybe some
they
things
come up
didn't
with it. So, yeah.
happen, it should have, but
Tuesday.
No comment.
Saturday.
No comment. So, but it is what it is.
Well,
I don't-
how are the selectmen gonna address that problem? Are you
I
going to?
can't speak to that because we're gonna address it, but I can't speak to what we're in the.
What you're
You're
gonna do?
working on addressing it.
Yes. Yes, I like that. Put that in the minutes.
Well, you can't, I mean, you can't not give him more people and expect him to have all of the positions covered.
Right.
It's not physically possible. Can I just throw out there what I said? And also, maybe there's a way to shut the dump down in the middle of the day, when most people aren't, I mean, is there 3 or 4 hours in the middle of the day where it doesn't have to be open?
They still have to be there though, because they're doing other stuff.
Right, but that's what he was complaining about, right? He has no extra time to do all these other things. But if you shut down the dump and didn't need someone standing at the wall, and
Well-
someone manning the bulky tag thing, and someone manning the whatever
Well,
else he was, he said.
nobody minding the wall now, so.
Right, but you
They-
see what I'm saying?
but
Like,
you're
you
saying working
can't
on
ask him to
that
do
and
all of
everything
those
else.
things with the hours we're giving him.
Yep.
Something has to
suspect-
give.
I suspect what's gonna happen is he'll be getting, or you'll probably be getting more money in the hourly budget to hire somebody else, maybe at a higher rate or something like that.
So would we have 5 people working there?
Well,
I'm
in
just
terms of
confused about the
FTEs,
numbers. I mean,
Well, that gets back to FTEs. You might have 5 people, but they're not working all their full time, so.
okay. I'm
But
not
I can't
suggesting
tell you what the
full-time, but-
solution is, because we're just,
So are you putting money in the budget, though, to address it?
like I said, we haven't,
Okay,
we're in the process. I can't.
okay.
One thing that we're running into with his pay, which we are gonna back down to where it was before.
Yep.
If you
Right.
look at it based on a 2,000 an hour year,
Yep.
he's only making $18, $19 an hour. So if you're starting to say that you're gonna be paying people, he's not making mega bucks either. So at some point, he can't have the help making almost as much as he is.
I agree, there has to be a differential, for
So
sure.
that may be why he increased his pay.
So you can increase theirs.
Oh, I'm listening, no.
But, you know, it's,
So,
Let's make it 23.
yeah, that exists.
still,
It's not a lot.
It's not a lot, especially when you're saying that the guys that are working for him are making 15, you need to pay them more because nobody can
Oh.
apply for the job.
So, would it be fair to say, Scott, that perhaps the selectmen are working with the solid waste committee about this?
Mm,
No?
no,
Oh, okay.
no. Parts of what we talked about, yes, is full-time person is making $18.72,
Oh,
And he's making what?
23. So the differentiation of $5 an hour.
So he's making more than a police officer does, oh, yeah.
Oh, he's a department head.
Yeah, the full-time, yeah.
I'm just, I was supporting what you were saying.
Okay.
Well, I know, but I, you know,
I'm gonna give you a little bit back, how about that? We'll give you a little bit of stereotype. Well, all the police officers do is drink coffee and go to the donut shop, so
Okay.
I know that's not true.
At midnight,
Brian
till
already
quarter
knows
to
that.
one. Nobody's up there doing it, nobody's doing the donut shop from the dump then.
No, I'm just kidding, I'm just kidding.
Maybe we should have coffee and donuts at the dump.
Show up.
And then we can cross-train.
I don't know, I don't think that would go over well.
All right.
Bottom line is, what are we doing with this budget? It's
Yep.
getting late.
so what are we doing, yeah, what are we doing with this particular budget item? I mean, this particular
The
department?
transfer center.
What are we
station.
welcome, what are we recommending? Are we
We're gonna move him
recommending,
back to where he was.
right, but are we recommending that he be allowed to increase the part-time to full-time?
No.
No, we're not
Unless
recommending.
we do it on a warrant article, but I thought we already decided.
I'm not even recommending a warrant
Not
article.
even, I agree with,
I don't
agree
think
with
it's,
Brian.
I don't think we can do it this year.
I don't know if we do this year, but I think we need to recommend to the select board that they need to think very carefully about the hours they're asking him to be open and their jobs they're asking him to do while he's open. That there needs to be a little bit more.
And there's no.
Logic to it.
Right.
You can't be open that many hours and have people, like, there has to be a little more understanding. He needs less to do.
Less to do, or give him what
Or
he needs
more
to do
people.
it.
Yeah, he needs less to
you're
do, or
right.
he needs more people. So if we're not willing to pay for more people, then we need to maybe close the dump for some number of hours or whatever, so he can do his other jobs.
Which, that's why,
You know, you had
the
that
taxpayers
list
aren't
of
gonna want
jobs.
that, because,
you know, a list of jobs that he had given Julie, of things that would need to be done daily, weekly,
Mhm.
quarterly, all that. Is that a realistic list of things, or was some of that a little overstated?
I don't know, I remember it, but I don't remember any of the
It's-
details.
I know what you're talking about, yeah.
Yeah, it was very complete, and it goes along with what you're saying.
I think it was that he
You know, it's
has
like
to.
power
accomplish
washing
all those
inside of the
things.
building.
Yeah, right, I mean,
And sometimes he doesn't need to.
let's have someone on the wall instead.
I know.
Well, I think he
Yeah.
was saying he wasn't power washing, because he doesn't have enough man hours.
Right.
But if you close down for a couple hours in the middle of the day, you could do all those things.
You don't wanna close in the middle of the day.
No, that's when
What?
people go.
Have you ever been there on a Saturday at noon?
I
Oh,
wasn't
yeah, not
suggesting Saturday at
Saturday.
noon.
Huh,
I was
Not
just saying
Saturday, ever.
I agree.
I mean, there's gotta be some downtime Tuesday and Thursday.
Right, that could be a possibility.
You know, maybe you're only open 8 to 11 and then 3 to 6 or whatever. I mean, there's gotta be a compromise.
Either that or get him the help he needs.
Tom?
That's pretty much it.
I move personnel on the transfer station remain the same as it was last year.
I think you probably should
Hmm?
do something like what Rebecca says, in terms of
Recommend,
reduced hours or increase some, maybe possibly the part-time employees or something.
I mean,
recommend increasing the pay for, or
Well,
to be able to get
I
the
don't
people
want to
that
add
they
another
need.
full-time person.
No, I'm not
That's what
saying
I'm
that.
trying to.
What I'm saying is, if you say that there needs to be some more, either reduction of what they need to do, or more people to do it, not full-time, to do those particular jobs.
well, I'd support another part-time person down there.
Because I think what's gonna happen is, there's some other things we're dealing with, but I think you need to have that person on the wall.
Absolutely, it
Not the
sounds
Trump
like it.
wall, our wall,
Yeah.
to do.
The Trump wall.
Did you see, this is something, so, did you see the coverage of Trump talking with Pelosi and Schumer?
Yes.
I heard part of it.
Oh
Oh
my
my
goodness. I said, oh my goodness.
I didn't
He
see
said
it.
if he doesn't get what he wants, he's.
So
Shut
like
down,
everyone
shut down.
He's
They had to fight
happy
about
to
who's
shut
the
down.
last,
Yes.
they
And you
fought
can
about
blame
who the
me.
last shutdown was responsible.
You know what?
But then Schumer
I
said that
think I would
he's
love one.
telling untruths to his face, and it's like,
I'm looking.
telling untruths.
Oh, that's a big-
Decorum has vanished.
Yep, it was very,
Yes,
it was embarrassing.
It was?
Yeah, it was.
I didn't see it.
So,
we had Schumer and
Did you get a
Pelosi
second?
Chocolate
Or
syrup.
your-
No,
Office
but
with
I'll move that we recommend that another part-time position be created at the transfer station. And that the selectmen should look into personnel needs for the department,
Okay, did you capture that?
for inclusion.
Ow,
Move to recommend.
I'll have one, are there any
I'm
napkins?
sorry.
That's okay.
Yeah,
have a-
I-
have a
sorry.
bad-
Oh, sorry, I didn't pass
I
the
got it.
napkins.
Oh, I will have one that says napkins, because
Alice?
and plates and
Oh,
forks, no problem.
yeah, I gotta take one home.
for yourself or for Al?
I got rid of one more for you.
Well, pass me one,
Well, at my house.
please.
So where is this bakery in Durham?
Well, I make these at my home, I just work
Oh.
part-time at a bakery.
Oh.
It's over on, it's over near Frost. What street is it? It's on
Frostland?
Denbow.
Huh?
Denbow?
Oh, it's on Denbow?
In what?
Denbow.
Denbow,
Yeah.
Denbow, I'm saying it wrong.
Where's
In
that?
Durham?
In
Durham.
Oh, wow.
It's over near all that construction on 108.
Right.
It's like 2 minutes from that
Oh,
construction hub.
Mm. Okay.
Oh.
So
Alice,
did I get a second?
move to recommend part-time position, additional part-time position, and
Thanks.
recommend selectmen review for increased wages.
And personnel as needed. I mean, maybe they need to have another full-time person, I don't know, you know. I would think that would be a good thing for the solid waste committee to look into, but that's just me.
That would probably be something that, yeah. they can- Okay. Okay. Another one.
They got forks at night.
Boy Scout.
They've got plates
Can we put in the
too.
minutes that Rebecca is evil?
Yes.
Yes, so good.
That would be good.
All right, move to recommend additional PT position, I'm not doing it, I'm reading it back. Part-time position and recommend increased wages and personnel as needed.
Or adjust hours, or hours or.
I don't think we should adjust her.
I think if you do that, you're really gonna.
It'll be like having
the
dump stickers,
townspeople so
trust me.
mad. I mean, I'm one of those people that goes like 3 days a week, so. I have
I think Rebecca.
not just me, but I have a lot of clients and I take theirs and so forth, so.
I think Rebecca has an idea.
You have an idea?
So I'm going to kind of support what she's saying, but I think before we make a recommendation to the selectmen, someone has to kind of give us a count on the number of people that come at certain hours of the day,
Do
particularly
like
on
a-
Tuesdays and Thursdays. I wouldn't be recommending trying to shorten hours on Saturdays, but
A
you might have,
census.
you might see where you only get 2 or 3 customers, say between 11 and 1. Then it wouldn't be, it would be feasible to close down for those 2 hours to do some of those other things, but I think you need to
Right.
traffic count by time.
So personally,
Maybe we
me
can get Stratford
even,
Regional to do that for us.
Well, the chief can probably do it. He's got that thing that does traffic. You can tell
Oh, yeah.
how many people go in and out.
He must know, he probably knows.
and you just have to do it for a week,
Right.
Well, I think- I
right?
think you wanna
Or a
do it
week
for
or 2 weeks or whatever, you know?
But Tom
Yeah, he is.
does have the traffic sled, and that will count the number of cars that go
Yeah, and then you can
through.
just divide by
By
whatever,
time.
you know.
So all you need to do is put that up at the transfer station and have it, but I think I'd wanna have it do a count of what's coming out the doors.
Not
So
what's
then if
going
that was an
in.
option, then you would
Well,
post
how about the people that go outside
closed
and go
from
inside?
this to this on Tuesday and Thursday.
There are a lot of people who.
And then we,
Yeah.
yeah, we could work our
But I see what you're trying to get at,
busy lives around it.
because there's people that go there just for the swap shop. It's not that they have to do anything with them, but they do just go for the swap shop.
Well, if you do the census in whenever the swap shop's closed, that negates all of that.
Swap shop's always open.
But I think you
I
need
thought,
to,
isn't the swap shop closing for
We
like
were
3
talking about
months?
that, but I don't
No.
think they.
Oh, we're not doing it?
No,
Never mind then.
I was adamant against that. I get enough emails, or got enough emails when it was
The swap
closed.
shop.
We're not closing it again.
Yeah.
doing what?
Well, when it was
When it
closed,
Swap shop.
when the swap shop was closed, because they were doing the, building it, I got so many emails and calls. When's the swap shop coming back? So I have
Oh,
to
yeah.
explain it to them. Well, it's been gone for so long, and, which is fine, you know, people use it, that's great.
Yeah, people
So-
do use it.
But I do think we need to have a valid count
Mhm.
by hour of the day before we make a recommendation.
Well, the thing is.
For Tuesday and Thursday.
Yeah, because I think
Right.
we forward that to
Yeah.
the solid waste committee and ask them to look into that. So, are we
Okay,
moving everything over except
so I amended it.
the manager and full-time wages?
Did we get a second and a voting? I mean, that was a motion.
Nobody
right?
seconded my motion, no.
All right, so move to recommend additional part-time position and recommend increased wages and personnel as needed or reduction of hours on Tuesday and Thursday.
I'm not for reducing hours.
Huh?
I don't think reducing hours is a good idea.
Okay,
We
This
can
is
ask them to
just-
look into how much usage those days
right,
get.
we're gonna
Those
look
days
in,
get,
so look into,
yeah, I guess, yeah, that's,
Okay.
you know, yeah.
So, are
look
we,
into reduction of hours.
Well, you know, right, and you do know that if you go at 6 o'clock in the morning and the
There's
gate is
nobody there.
open, that you can go in and do it.
If the gate's open?
Yeah, so if you go at 6, I mean, so it's really 6.
Is it?
Yes.
Oh,
Roger always had that policy, you could
They
go from
get there
6
early.
o'clock on.
if he went in and he opened it, yeah.
Well, they go there at 6 o'clock in the morning. They start work at 6. On the
So they
days
start
that the dump is open,
But it's not open till 8, but they're working and doing the other stuff.
but people can go in from 6 to 8.
Wow.
it's just, yeah, but the thing is, they have to be open because if the truck comes to do a pull, the truck's not gonna stay and say, oh, I'll open the gate. It needs to be open.
Yeah.
So they gotta be there, okay. Okay, does anybody, do I read it again, or are we gonna get a second, or,
How'd you get a second? How'd you?
I'll second it.
okay, thank you.
Read it again?
Move to recommend move to recommend to the selectmen an additional part-time position and recommend increased wages and personnel as needed, or look into reduction of hours Tuesday and Thursday.
Scott, before we vote on this, it's an additional part-time position. We don't really care if he has 5 part-timers that wanna work 2 hours, say 2 hours at a time. So we're just increasing the part-time budget.
Just say,
It's just a matter of whether
Part-time
we can
hours.
get them or not, yeah.
because you've got,
Because we really don't care if he has 5 people who work 2 hours for a total of
Yep.
10.
All right,
I always viewed it as a pool.
Yeah,
So if he can get 5 people out of that, that's great.
Yeah.
But it's the number of
But
hours.
the way it's.
so
Okay, well, we'll
move
change it
to
to
recommend
hours.
additional part-time hours.
Yes.
Hours.
Would everybody be friendly to that?
Okay with that.
yeah, I'm fine with that.
And recommend increased wages and personnel and,
Yep.
or look into reduction of hours Tuesdays and Thursdays. Looking into,
Reduction of time the dump is open, because we're not reducing the hours, because that's when they're supposed to do that other work.
of hours,
The transfer station is open,
open hours. Okay.
because we're not reducing the hours.
No, we want them
Send-
there, we just want them
Right,
doing something else.
okay, yeah, good point. Do we have it? Move to recommend additional part-time hours and recommend increased wages and personnel as needed or look into reduction of open hours Tuesdays and Thursdays. Hours open hours. Pat seconded,
Yep.
Aye.
Alice did the motion,
Yep.
aye.
Do we want to change the part-time hourly line in that budget or not? Want to leave it at the 41,356,
Well, we're
Well,
gonna,
he's reduced it to 24/7, hasn't he?
24,700?
Yeah, I think we should put it back up to the 41, don't
Okay,
you?
but do you want to
Yeah.
increase it any more above the 41, because you just said increased hours?
Okay,
Well, I think we have the and/or reduced hours, so I think that has to be made by the select board. We have to pick
So
one
you-
option or the other,
Leave it at the 41?
I think, that'd be my opinion.
Okay.
yeah, and if you need more, take it out of contingency.
Alright. Solid waste?
So I want to know about the $80,000, is that too much?
I think so.
By how much?
Mm,
What the heck?
9,000?
About-
80,000 is the 2019 budget, right? So he's not actually requesting anything
70,
greater.
How much have they spent so
yeah,
far?
71 it was, right?
Well,
Where
71 was
is-
18.
2018, right.
So the 19 budget, Dave, you've already given them
Where is-
Oh, because that was the last, and now we're budgeting for this year.
Does
So it's
anybody
the
have
same.
that thing that
$8,000.
Julie sent out in terms of how much they spent so far?
Everybody in my email.
Oh.
I have it here someplace, but
Town center facilities conceptual project budget, no?
what she just
Okay.
sent. My stuff is all disarrayed.
The thing I didn't understand about the 80 grand was, we asked him how he came up with it, and he said it was tons by rate, multiplied by rate, but
No.
the math didn't come close to
Right,
working.
I agree, the math doesn't
The-
come close.
Oh, that's the
I
other
think it
thing.
should have been like 68 or something,
Alright.
There's
based on.
there's two things that have to change. One, the closure cost. Where is the closure cost?
For Lamprey?
Yeah, there it is. It's not 927, it's gonna be 14 something.
Okay,
So we just voted on that.
14,000?
no,
1400.
1,400.
1427, I can put in the real number.
Well, I support that.
Well, it is what it is. Let's see.
Okay, so which number did you want from the transfer station for fiscal year 19? I have it in front of me.
Oh, how much have they spent so far on bulky, MSW and bulky waste?
So, hold on, I'm good.
Budget is 80, so how much has he spent?
Year to date, that would be the second column. I need headers on every column, that would be really super helpful. Okay, so far year to date, he's spent 26,865, so almost $27,000.
Through half the year, almost half the fiscal
Oh,
year.
Yeah, well, it depends on how far they've built.
We are 41% complete according to this.
Because I
So-
think,
So
Yeah.
40
You guys were right, it's gonna be around 60, or,
Well, he had an estimate of tons, and he had a rate.
Yeah.
And they certainly didn't come to 80.
so why did he get 80 last year, and why did he,
You didn't get it
he has
last year.
72?
the current budget is 80.
The current budget's 80,
Current
and
budget's
he left it at 80.
Yeah,
But when we
the
asked him
current
how he
budget.
came up with that, he had,
For
Yeah.
2019, yeah.
So if 27,000
And
is
72,
41%, it's
it says
65,
before.
800.
That's what-
It's 66.
66.
If you
So the
annualize what he
72
spent
and
so far.
71 is, I mean, those are actual,
Well,
so.
the problem with that is you don't know how much has been billed, because I know for sure some of it hasn't been billed yet. So
Has November been billed?
I do not know that.
Okay.
The estimate for next year in terms of what's anticipated, and the estimate is January 1st to December 31st, that's how Lemberg does their fiscal years.
Uh-huh.
I believe it's a little over 71,000 anticipated for revenue, which would be for us, this is the expense line that will come out of. So I'm suspecting if we
I
made
see.
it 72,
Would be safe.
might be a little bit more, might be a little bit less.
Now, you can take it out of
I mean, at
contingency.
least,
It's not 80.
like, yeah, we could at least reduce it by $5,000.
You could do that.
Yeah, you can do, yeah, you can reduce it by 7, couldn't you, and be safe?
Yeah.
Yeah. Put it at 73. I recommend that. I make a motion that we,
73?
yeah,
No, second.
Do we have to make a motion to do
No.
that?
I don't know.
Because we haven't even voted on the whole budget yet.
No, just,
What
The other,
about the hauling
Agreed.
costs?
that is going up.
Is it gonna go
Um,
up that much?
Yeah. What has happened is Lamprey used to own a truck and we used to pay for somebody to operate it and then the expenses for maintenance and stuff like that. Last year, we got out of the trucking business because the truck had some things it needed to do.
Issues.
But the biggest thing was finding somebody to actually drive it.
Yep,
So we got out of the trucking business, so the cost for hauling, instead of being something internal to us, is now external.
awesome.
We're gonna be using the shipyard hauling, not shipyard, the porches.
mm,
Yeah,
And it's a lot more expensive,
okay.
so we're gonna need the 38,000 to do that.
That's in
And we
there.
expect the fluorocarbons thing to go up that much too?
Hmm,
Cause that's at $35,000, right, $3,500.
3,500 from 200.
Yeah, I remember, what did he say about that?
Oh, it says 576 that was,
he had a very confusing
Yeah, I
explanation
did
about
that.
that.
What are we talking about now?
Fluorocarbons?
CFCs. It's like, what, seventh down? Seventh down?
42109.
He had an explanation, but I didn't understand it.
Rebecca, are you gonna be the first one to find it?
I'm looking for my notes here about what the heck it was talking about. Yeah, I didn't make notes about the, oh, is that not just the third person? Something about ACs, there was a whole thing about ACs. What I didn't
Oh, air
understand.
conditioners and
Refrigerators.
And refrigerators.
refrigerators
That's what I
and
had to do.
taking it
But
out.
don't we charge people for that? Isn't
Yes.
that like,
You charge to drop it off.
Yeah.
do
Yes.
we not
See, the
charge?
revenue's a different part of the budget, we don't.
They're
What
reviewing
happens
all
is
those charges
That's
and
an
they're actually
expense. The
increasing.
revenue all goes into the general
So
fund.
does this, oh, interesting.
All revenue goes into the general fund.
Right.
But that's offset in this thing, right? This is that would be included in here, right?
Right.
So does this number really matter?
Yes, but
Yes.
you have to appropriate it.
Yeah.
So what happens if we don't need it?
You don't
Goes into the
spend it.
it goes into the,
general fund.
well, yeah, it goes into the fund balance is what it
Unreserved
does.
fund balance, Unassigned fund balance.
I guess my question is, like, does that actually increase the tax burden? Because isn't there a additional increase in the
Generally, it
profit?
does not, because the selectmen will generally use part of the fund balance
Yeah.
to reduce taxes.
We kind of have a standing kind of thing. Last year, we put in 238,000.
To reduce the,
Well, no, that went into unassigned fund balance
Oh.
from last year.
okay,
And this year, we put 250,000 against the tax rate. So basically, it kind of like evened out. But
But-
yes, that's generally.
I guess what I'm asking is, so you have this less town state revenue. Doesn't that include all that money we take in from the transfer station for
it would be
the
included in
ACs?
there, yes.
So don't those things kind of,
Yep, but the thing is, you don't want to over, like, for instance, for Toby, we're talking about Toby's budget. You don't want to give him more money than he actually needs, because that's not good.
Because you're raising money you don't need,
Yeah,
really.
well, yeah. If he's going to be spending 3,500 in that line item, that's fine. But if he's only going to spend, like, 2 years ago in 2018, he only spent $576. So that's why I was asking, does he say anything there? Because I don't remember what the additional expense is that he's anticipating in that line item. I don't know.
Because it's gonna cost more to get rid of the refrigeration stuff
Could be.
that he,
Could be.
yeah.
I'm just, I don't remember.
Oh, either.
And I didn't write down anything about it.
There's no way, I don't think, that he could even know, because how does he know how many refrigerators or ACs he's gonna get each, you know?
Well, I think the increase is what we're looking at,
Yeah.
from $200 to $3,500.
Right,
Rebecca, do you still have that
So
sheet
it
that
seems
says
like-
what they've spent in 2019? So
seems
that
like a
line
big
item,
jump, right?
Like what in solid waste?
oh, wow. They've already spent $1,000 this year
For
for fluorocarbon
see,
CFC.
so that must
No,
have
it
been a
must-
big
there's-
increase because of the cost
Hmm.
to get
Could
rid of it.
The other thing is, one of the things that you probably already know, probably Alice and Pat know, but when times are good, transfer station usage goes up.
Yeah.
I'm rich with money, I'm buying this new, buying that,
They
whatever
throw
it
away
is.
a lot more.
Yeah,
Right.
so
yeah.
when times are not so good, transfer station tonnage goes down. And after 2008, you know, we saw usage go down.
Yeah.
In the last probably 4 or 5 years, it's starting to go back up again. So you just have to be aware that, you know, those particular costs are going up. And also, we're dealing with costs for taking care of those particular things is going up, so we're getting kind of a double whammy now. So, and it's probably what's happening, the cost of getting rid of that refrigerant is going up.
So are we charging people more money then?
So that's the thing that they're reviewing right now, actually, I was just there today, and they're going over that list of all the charges.
Who is?
for,
Solid
as a
Solid
transfer-
waste?
Yeah.
Because we just
And they're,
increased.
it hasn't been done for like 15 years, we've
Yeah.
been paying the same thing there.
Yeah.
So they're gonna see, some things actually cost them less to get rid of, like mattresses and box springs, they found out.
Washing
cost-
machines.
Cost less to get rid of than they're actually charging, so.
Like
but
washing
some
machines
things are more, and
white
washing
goods.
machines, yeah.
Because the metal, the tariff is put in a bite, so now the recycling for metals is going up. Because they're taking those things and recycling the
Yeah.
structural steel and stuff. All right,
So what do we decide about the floor cabins?
I would think.
I think we're gonna leave it where it
Leave
is. Yeah, leave it, don't you think?
Yep.
Yeah,
How about solid waste other?
Solid waste, other,
That went from 500 to 5,000.
I don't know what
Solid
that is.
waste other, oh, yeah. What is it?
I'm not sure what that is.
But that was a big increase too,
Mixed paper.
because they're not getting the money for it.
Yep,
There's no market for it.
That's what I wrote
we
down.
have to pay to get rid of it. Or North Shore Mix is
You
what it
used
is.
to at least break even and you were getting some, then you just at least broke even, now you have to pay to.
The other big thing that you'll notice, and I don't think you put it in, one of the things we're looking at is the biggest electricity usage in the transfer station is the baling systems and the compactor for the boxes. Because in the wintertime, we have to heat that oil
Oh.
and there's no insulation around the tanks, so you're heating the outside. So that's one of the things that we're looking at. They're trying to figure out what they can do to do that. We talked about putting little boxes around them, insulated boxes. Toby doesn't really like that. So they're still working out that. But that would be, if we could solve those two problems, that would cut down significantly on our electric usage, because those things are heated with electric heaters. So
What are
they're the tanks, you know, the reserve tanks for the pistons. You have to heat the oil, you can't have it cold. So they have to
almost
heat
have to
it.
like build well, they can't build a room around it.
No,
'Cause they have to
It's
access-
outside,
Yeah,
it's
it's-
outside. So if you
but-
look at where the compactors, what am I spacing in terms of those things? The middle boxes,
The bins.
the containers.
Containers.
Containers that come in,
Yeah.
it's right next to that, it's undercover, but it's exposed to the elements. So there's some big hydraulic tanks in there that have the fluid. So you have to heat those up, make sure they stay heated, they can't freeze. But that takes an awful lot of energy. That and also the tanks, the same thing for all the compactors that are inside. So that would save on some electricity, so that's the next thing that he's working on, which will actually save us some money.
So is the Energy Committee looking at that?
No, it's just, well, they already looked at it, and that's what they recommended, so Toby's trying to
Find a different solution?
find a solution. The thing that they came up with, he didn't really like,
Okay.
because it would be hard to maintain them if they have to go into maintenance. So he's trying to find out other things. You know, the things for your hot water tank, you can buy these things that wrap around them?
yeah.
He's looking to see if we can have maybe one of them made for each of those tanks, because that would help it. But he's looking at that, so.
Those electric blanket, basically.
Something like that.
I mean, it's like.
But
electric-
it's insulation, it doesn't heat it up, it
Oh,
just
it's not?
insulates, yeah, because the heater's inside the tank. But this would just insulate it, so,
So that it wouldn't get as
So
cold
it
with this
doesn't
investment?
escape, the heat doesn't
because
escape
basically,
as
we're
rapidly or whatever.
heating up. If you go down there in the wintertime, that's a nice place to be, because it's nice and warm coming out of there, and you're just heating the outside, and that's not very efficient. So,
So are we good on this budget with the exception of 80 to 73?
Well, what
yeah.
about the electronics? I mean, why is that so high?
Electronics is going up too,
Yeah,
significantly.
but, you know, last year, when, in 2018, they only used 3,000 of it.
Yeah.
And partially what Scott just said was that people are buying new TVs and buying new radios and buying computers
Well, and
and,
so far this
and
year, they've
bringing it
used
up.
$4,300.
Yeah.
That's why, yeah,
$4,300,
so
my
it's-
God.
yeah.
He's found a place that is cheaper than the other place that we used to send him to, but it's still expensive. And a lot of it is what I explained before. People feel rich, they're buying new things and they're getting rid of the old ones. And we do, Rebecca, we do take, and there is a charge for dropping off stuff like that. So we do get some money back,
Yeah.
but that
not
goes
all
into
of
the
it.
general fund.
But when we're talking about this overall 3% tax rate, isn't there like a equal increase in this income so that it
Yep.
doesn't actually change
So,
that increase
yeah,
of the
really
tax rate?
really the line item you want to concentrate on is the one where it says, total property taxes assessed.
Yeah,
That's what you really want to focus on. Right now, it's at 6.98% with none of these changes that we just talked about. So that's the one you go for, because that's how the tax rate is based on, because that includes the school tax, the county tax, and then net town appropriation. Those are the things that are gonna affect it the most.
Right, and you've just made assumptions about the others, am I right?
Yes, the assumption for the community tax, the assumption for the school tax, and the assumption, the overlay isn't that big, and the assumption for the state education tax. So there's a lot of assumptions there. They're not necessarily bad, but I can't predict what the county's gonna charge. As you can see, the county, I bring the check over 2 days from now, $1.3 million, which they're always very happy when they see me come in with that big check. But
So are we done with something with that?
with the reduction from 80 to 73, yeah.
Yeah.
So, and is the hazardous waste, that's for hazardous waste day?
Yep,
That's our share of it? Okay.
yep. Which, depends, sometimes
How many
Sure.
people
there's
use
a
it?
bunch of people,
Sure.
sometimes there's nobody.
Right,
But you can't tell, and
right,
it's one of those consortiums, as you know, Alice, that,
yeah,
whatever the cost is, and we share it.
Yeah.
right.
That's the thing we go over, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Southeast Land Watershed Alliance, that's $200.
We can probably do that.
You think so? Animal control? Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
Health agencies? We okay with some of these?
Yep.
There's some that are new. Great Bay Rotary is new. Let's see what else is new.
Cornerstone VNA
Yep, Cornerstone B&A.
and Goodwood
They're-
Community Health went up
They're actually
$2,000.
really
Yeah.
good. Cornerstone, I would recommend.
You good with all those?
Yep.
Okay. General assistance,
It's what it is.
Yeah, that's what it is.
you have to, no matter what your budget is, you have to provide that support.
So we could zero it out and you could use the contingency fund.
You could, let's not do that.
Is that like a federal thing? Like you have to do
It's a
it?
state law.
Yeah, state law.
It's a state
So,
law.
even
You
if we
have to
budget
pay.
zero, we still have to provide the service. So,
Okay.
And she is very good about sending people to other places to get assistance before we pay.
Yeah, other agencies, yeah.
But just the first, I've never had this happen before, but we had our first, that I am aware of, and I know town's probably done it before, the first burial, we had to pay for somebody to be buried
Yeah.
because they couldn't.
They couldn't afford it, yeah.
Unfortunate.
Yeah, it's sad.
Parks and Rec,
What we're doing with Forever Youth.
Well, can I ask another question before I get to that? The supplies have gone up $4,000, is that, am I reading this correctly? Supplies for what? Just wondering.
that was in his
For Oyster
presentation.
River?
Okay, well,
Yeah.
but
They have
no, just the top line there.
Yeah.
Yep.
supplies.
They want to do more
Oh.
programming, they want to do more concerts in the park, no more films, that didn't go over well. And there's something else they want to do. Oh, they want to have like a part-time person to do scheduling.
For the park.
Is
For the-
that in
for the-
there?
I thought that was
Yeah.
if they got rid of
That was if they got rid of
ORYA.
Right.
That was their hope, yeah. We got rid of
I thought there was
ORYA.
something,
We
well,
all sort of decided
let's find that
against
sheet.
that.
Yeah, I was looking.
That
for-
supplies was one of those kind of nebulous numbers that were come up with.
Let's find that sheet.
Commission
Put my
of
stuff in there
Concom?
because now I'm-
Is that where it is? Parks and
I
Rec?
think so.
Did Durham decide to do
Recreation.
What Durham decided, what the recommendation is,
Under
and I talked about the
Concom.
town councils, I won't say it again until tomorrow morning, but recommendation is that they reduce it by a third over the next 3 years to zero it out.
Okay, the original recommendation was to yank it this year.
Right, that's the
what-
town administrator.
That's what town administrator wanted.
Yeah.
But the council, I talked to Coro, who's on the council,
The supplies
and he
is-
said he made the recommendation, he's pretty sure the council's gonna buy it. It's not to pull the rug all in one year.
You guys find it?
Do it over a
I
3-year
found his
step.
thing, but I don't know
Here we
where.
go.
Where do the numbers go?
Isn't this, yeah, I got
So,
that.
oh, you got,
So where's the supplies though on there? Nothing.
it's a combination of a whole bunch of stuff.
Oh,
Okay.
So they're proposing, oh, that's the other thing, he didn't include porta potty. They want, he's suggesting 20,000 for Oyster River Youth, nothing for porta potty, that's expense we have to do. Pavilion lighting, 1,000, concrete slab for the pavilion, 3,500, electric, 1,500, Easter egg hunt, 1,200, fishing derby, 1,700, model rocket day, 750, that's very popular. Music in the park, 3,500, and new programs to be turned, 5,000.
So that's new programs, or part of it, or whatever.
So, that's in two line items, supplies and
And events.
recreation events.
Oh, okay.
So,
Hmm.
18, yep, that makes it. If you take out the 20,000, those two line items are the difference.
Hmm.
So it's an increase of almost $9,000.
But the thing is, they forgot the porta potties. There's a charge for that. I talked to Julie about it today.
It's not even
So-
on here.
I know, but
So,
he's
Is it under a
forgotten.
different group? I feel like I saw the porta potty earlier today.
Are they gonna be able to work with ORYA?
In what respect?
He doesn't really have to work with
Well,
ORYA.
the whole thing
It's
about
just the fields.
the fields.
Right at the moment, we still have an agreement with the OROA that they manage the fields for us and do the scheduling.
Okay.
I don't believe that's gonna change.
Okay. So ORYA is what it is, okay.
So do we, I mean, even he was mentioning, Matt was mentioning that gradually they're going to reduce, they envision reducing funding for them and
I think the
then,
rec budget as
You know.
presented is good.
yeah,
Okay.
keep it as it is.
Thoughts?
Keep it as it is.
Keep it as it is.
We don't need
That
to
reduced
decide
the
on,
RYA.
we don't need to work on it, yeah, decide on that right now.
I think probably they are, look at what the other two towns do, but maybe kind of follow Durham's lead. So ORYA said they're working towards becoming self-sufficient.
Yeah.
And the Durham Council, I believe, is going to do it in thirds.
But don't pull it all away from them.
All right, so
Leave it.
thoughts?
Leave it.
Leave it the way it is?
Leave it.
Okay. Library?
But that, did that leave it the way it was with Larry's thing? So
No.
these
No.
things, okay,
No.
okay, good, okay.
So, library?
Nothing there.
I agree, nothing there.
Yeah, they were.
Okay.
Good.
Patriotic purposes. Let's see if Pat or Rebecca asked the same questions that the rest of the group did last time.
What is it, right?
Wasn't that all those flags?
I
that
know,
we
it's
hang
all
from
the figures of
poles?
flags.
Give that lady a star.
Yes, you got it. We were like, what the heck are those bunting
Buntings.
things or whatever?
All right.
Bunting. We hang them from the poles.
Um,
And then we needed a lot of them in 2018, right? Because we had the
Oh, cause
Centennial,
250, 250, yeah.
tricentennial.
Are you okay with the Ag Commission?
2016.
Oh,
Getting money?
So we okay with patriotic purposes?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ag
Yes,
Commission,
I'm not voting against them.
I wouldn't either.
we had this discussion last time, ladies,
We
they
gave them
have,
money last year, they didn't use it.
yeah,
I know.
They had 5,000 plus in their kitty,
yeah,
and why are we giving them more money if they're not using it?
I would be in favor of reducing it, but I don't wanna give them nothing.
well,
I mean, they do,
but that doesn't mean they're not gonna do stuff, they can just take it out of their account.
that you've already given them.
That you've already given them, that they have access to. Because, let's say for instance, the 5,000 that we gave them, they didn't use, it just goes into their account.
Right.
So it doesn't go away like
Yeah,
other places,
right.
because they're commissioned.
It doesn't go into
Still,
the,
it's like,
the balance.
It's the same, well, and then you get back to, then you need to treat all of them the same, and the Heritage Commission and the Conservation Commission are not asking for money because they have significant account monies in their account.
yeah.
Conservation Commission has almost $10,000. The Heritage Commission has almost $32,000.
Well, that's a little,
grief.
that's a little more.
Well, it's the same thing. If you're not spending it, why do we keep giving you more money?
I move to remove the $1,000.
Yeah, second.
You give them a buck if you wanted to.
Okay.
That would be more of an
that's-
insult.
Yeah, I think that's,
I could go either way.
Huh?
I could go either way.
I don't see giving them the money if they're not spending it.
I know.
I mean, then they put it, Because they're a commission, they can keep that money.
Yep.
If they're a committee, they can't, it would go back into the general fund.
Right.
I could see giving them another $1,000. They're not, they're a commission, so they keep the money they don't spend and keep building their kitty up.
Yeah, no.
You know, they don't spend $1,000 a year, they got more than 5,000, they got enough for 5 years. We didn't give them any
That's why
last
I'm
year
on,
either.
I could go either way, whatever the group
Yeah,
wants
we
to
did,
do.
we gave them something, didn't we, last year?
We did.
Yeah, we did.
Oh, we did in the year before that, huh?
We did
Yeah,
the year
it was the year
before,
before.
that is correct.
Anyway, I'd vote to take it out.
Second?
So I think I already did.
Oh,
Yeah.
did you capture that, Tom? You're getting kind of low on that piece of paper there.
Oh,
buddy.
boy.
Well,
Are we
almost done?
We're
I
almost
just want to
done.
throw out that they spent no money so far this year.
Yeah, so,
I mean, I'm not against the agricultural commission, I'm just against giving them
Yep.
money they don't need.
No, I agree. If they already have money, they don't need more money.
we're getting to the end of the list, and you haven't, we haven't, as a group, cut next to nothing.
There you go.
Right.
So,
Well, I think we basically took the 2 full-time people, 3 full-time
Yeah.
people out.
Mhm.
Well, we didn't.
we'll see what we get, but, okay. Commission, don't, no, zero?
No, zero.
Okay. Conservation Commission,
Did we
zero.
vote?
No, we didn't vote.
Well, let's-
Vote,
So it would be 3 against 2, so
Well,
it
take-
passes anyway.
take
Or
the vote.
4,
No, take the vote
Take the vote.
okay.
Those
All
in favor?
of removing the Agricultural Commission.
Aye.
And you? Are you voting?
I didn't yet.
Okay. Oh, all opposed?
And by opposed, you mean give them the money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All those abstaining?
Abstain?
Yes.
Okay, it passes. Motion to,
I'm not falling down that hole.
you're supposed to make a decision.
No. I agree with both sides. How about that? Long-term debt, nothing you can do about it.
Do about it.
Interest going down, nothing you can do about it. Trust funds. Are we okay? The 2 that aren't in the CIP is the reevaluation fund and the accrued benefits trust fund. So reevaluation, she sent us information about that. That would give us a total of,
On something like that, just a side note, when something like that happens, do I
you have to.
put
Yes,
2 no's, 3 yeses, or
Yep.
4?
And then just say
and an
the
abstention?
motion passes.
Okay, and motion, okay.
where is, oh, shoot. Trust fund money.
You just said-
Shoot,
In the back of the book.
where's the trust fund?
I think it goes up to around 64 with this,
I
64,000.
put it on top because I knew it was referencing. So reevaluation at the end of June has 46,530.41.
Yeah.
So
this
if you
would
put in 15,
61.
that would give us 61, so,
That's about what it cost us the last
yeah.
time.
Now,
So-
the accrued benefits,
Yeah. We talked about this last week.
what did you decide?
We didn't.
We didn't.
So,
I thought the accrued benefits was gonna go down because of Randy's retirement.
no,
The accrued
you get
benefits,
the sheet. Where's the sheet? I needed assistance. Here it is. So, $139,165.02 is our total liability. Everybody said, the heck with the town of Lee, we're all leaving.
Yeah.
and how many people is that?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19,
20?
20, 21, 22,
They're all on
23.
it.
23.
We had
23, and who has the highest amount? I mean, how much do we owe to the,
Julie, I assume.
Give that lady a star.
and how much is it?
28,258.89.
Is what she's accrued. And the selectmen don't put a cap on what you can accrue in terms of vacation or sick, is that right?
Not for her.
Not
She
for,
does have a cap on
That
vacation, but
individual.
not on sick. Majority of that, 28,000, is, 20,000 of that 28 is sick leave, unused sick leave.
Do you cap everybody else?
Yeah.
Well, I think we should bring this to the attention of the Board of Selectmen.
I already know.
It's a contract issue, isn't it?
I know, but I think with
Well,
the
she's
budget committee
She's the only one
should,
with a contract.
the budget committee should take a position that all employees should be treated equally. I mean, in terms of caps and whatnot.
Here, here.
I'll make that motion.
Oh, for crying out loud, I have nothing left on my PC. Oh,
Scotty needs more paper.
I think
He has 4 more lines.
Oh, okay.
I think
Well, I just think.
they already know that.
Well, I know, but we
we could make a.
Right, and this puts it in the minutes, and it puts it in the presentation and all that sort of thing.
Puts it in the presentation you're making next Monday.
Mm.
Right.
Oh, God, don't do that to me.
What do you mean, don't do it to you? You're the chair.
They already are addressing it and
Oh, no, they're
haven't gotten anywhere,
Right, right.
because there's two
Well, maybe they need some help,
that don't.
and that's why I'm
that don't
recommending
vote
it.
that way.
For the 2 ladies that were here last week, we had a lively discussion about this, and I even pulled out our contract, because I
Yeah.
keep it with me.
You alluded
Right.
to that.
Yeah, so, yeah, that has been tried. The thing that I said last week, which I'll say again this week, is the previous board said to the 2 chiefs, we're not gonna have contracts anymore, and that's what the board agreed to. They subsequently changed their mind about her contract, which had created some bad feelings with the 2 chiefs.
Oh, I'm
Because
sure.
basically, we said one thing, and then we as a group said
Something
something
else.
else, which I find that, I did not like that. That's just me speaking, I did not like that. So, but nothing has changed. They believe that the town administrator is in a precarious position, and she deserves to have some kind of support in that particular vein in terms of her.
What is her
employment.
precarious position?
That she can be let go at any particular time.
Well, isn't that everybody's position?
Yeah, right.
Well, the
I
police
get-
chief is-
The police and fire would be, they'd find jobs.
Well, the police chief has
There's
stated,
a
Well, they
statutory,
have-
statutory
Yeah,
protection for police
other
chief.
protection, right? Yeah.
not so much the fire, but usually, because boards change,
Right,
this board might like the town administrator, the next board might not like it.
well, that goes with the job.
Yeah, but in terms of checking with the municipal association, town administrators are town administrator, not one that has executive power.
Right,
About half of them have contracts and half of them don't.
yeah.
So,
I think we've had this discussion other
Yes.
years.
Well, I'm just saying, all I'm saying is that if she's gonna have a contract, the same benefits that accrue to other people should accrue to her. Hers shouldn't be special, you know, I mean, especially on sick leave, good grief. Somebody could have a heart attack and they only get 20 days or whatever, and she gets 200, that doesn't seem right to me. I'm making those numbers up, but it just doesn't seem fair.
yeah,
That's why I want to bring it to the attention of the board, that they should address this matter and put a cap on it, which also helps that benefits
Yeah.
trust fund.
so you have a motion.
I do.
I don't know if you have a second.
No, what's the
What's the
second?
motion?
To advise to bring to the attention of the Board of Selectmen that all employees should be treated fairly, and if there's a cap on sick leave for one person, it should be for everybody.
Do you need some water?
Hmm?
Do you need some water or something? Do you need some water?
Now, I need to get rid of this cold.
Whiskey?
Misty Meadows.
Whiskey?
So,
Then you wanna go home?
Motion to bring to the board, attention, the Board of Selectmen, that all employees
Should be treated the same, should be treated fairly. And if a cap on sick leave applies to one, it should apply to all. And maybe that varies, I don't know if you have, here 10 years, do you get more sick time, or,
I don't know if sick leave changes.
Okay.
Vacation does.
okay.
And if cap on sick
Well,
leave or
actually,
vacation, or.
She gets
Sick
short-term
leave.
and long-term disability too, right?
So employees get that too.
So,
So why is there,
yeah,
yeah,
should be a cap on it, sick leave. Because what she said, she's gotta use that sick leave now instead of going to the insurance if she's sick. And that's not to the benefit of the town, that's why the town has insurance.
Should be for, okay. Motion to bring to the attention of the Board of Selectmen that all employees should be treated the same, and if there is a cap on sick leave, it should be for all. Correct?
Yeah,
And you have a second from somebody.
That was Alice. Any second?
I'll second it, just to move it along. Past my bedtime, guys.
9:15. We're almost done.
We've had a lot of motions.
I know.
Did everybody agree?
Discussion? Vote?
Discussion?
Vote. All in favor?
In favor?
I,
Just
Opposed?
one?
Opposed? Abstentions?
so nobody opposed it?
Nobody opposed it?
So it passes.
So it passed.
Yeah. Passes. So, in terms of, I just put a placeholder for the reevaluation, and which it sounds like we are agreeing to that, but the 15,000 for group benefits, I just put that in there. Our total liability is 139,000, and we've got 56,773.
We put some more money in there, don't we?
We could, we're over 50%, well, no, we're not, we're
No,
50%.
we're way under.
You're under 50%. So
I would leave it in there.
15, that would bring us up to
15.
71.
Yeah.
15, okay?
Yep.
Okay. We all set with the other ones? 100,000 in town new building trust fund, 38 for transfer station, roads and bridges, 60, highway department, 55, fire truck, 150,000, accrued benefits, 15, recreation facilities, 6,000, fire ponds and cisterns, 20,000.
Now, the
I know
money for the new trust fund for the library is. that
That's
would be-
not in
Yeah,
here.
that's not in there.
Pat, you did bring up a thing about the recreation commission in terms of, because that money's been put aside for a tennis court, but we don't know, I don't know if you want to pursue that or you want to just leave it.
Just,
Okay. We good?
yeah.
Okay?
Yeah, because this is what CIP recommended, right? There's
Yep.
these numbers.
Yep. All right, that's the last page.
Now, what are we gonna do about the employee benefits for the positions that we didn't do anything about the retirement and health insurance and stuff?
Yeah, we didn't address the
You said that-
personnel.
We did get an answer on the retirement.
Well, no,
Why
we-
that
if we-
I
police,
suspect what's gonna happen is if the board could keep, which I think is gonna happen, if the board keeps it in the budget, both of them, that won't change.
That's
Board
true.
takes it out of the budget, then it'll show up in a special warrant article.
Well,
Well,
only
I
if the
meant
board
the-
decides
if
to
they
put a
decide
special
to.
warrant article on, they don't have
we
to.
might
In
decide.
terms of
not to do
retirement and
anything.
health insurance, we didn't really make any big changes, did we?
No, I'm doing the changes that you did do.
Thank you for the cupcakes.
Yes, you're mean, Rebecca, you're
Yes,
very
nasty
mean.
one.
Evil.
Evil, what's that, evil song?
She does this quite often, she even has a special carrier.
Yes.
Yes.
I have 3 of these.
Oh, that's
I'm
awesome.
not supposed to admit that you have 3 of them.
Thank you
You
so
sent it to
much.
me? 3 of them.
I don't know, this is the night.
Okay.
Breakfast.
Is there garbage in here? They don't want it, so they don't give it to us. Oh, that's why. You checking everything?
I'm trying to give you
Okay,
a number
twice.
so you can tell.
I'm gonna find out who's,
Transfer station.
communities coming to town. Now we're leaving town. So we're done.
Now, when is the presentation, Monday?
Yeah.
Oh, boy. So what do I gotta do? I gotta get,
You gotta take
PowerPoint?
these documents, 73-2. I will be giving the uploaded version to Joanne, so So they're gonna create some documents. You should probably take the updated this and also this. And then you can do your presentation off this, because they're just looking for, changes and what you're recommending. And also, you're gonna need to tell them whatever we voted on, like the recommendations about the sick leave and stuff like that.
All the motions.
All the motions.
You need to tell them the essence of what those particular things are, because that's what the committee's asked you to do, so.
So how about I take a stab at it and send it to you, and so you can,
Sure.
Help me
Why don't you
do that?
send it to the whole committee? and
or
they can-
everybody, yeah, maybe you can,
Because you might forget something.
I'll do up these minutes and I'll
Okay.
send them out. Yeah, to everybody, and see if that covers.
As you can see, this is not taking me very long, which is not good. Making changes to that.
Now it's up to the selectmen.
And they'll do as they
Okay,
want.
you've reduced the increase in the operating budget from a little over 8.3% to 6.84%. You're increasing the operating budget by $272,138.51. In terms of the other CIP stuff, you didn't change it at all. So you're looking at an overall tax assessment of an increase of 6.44%. And you're looking at a tax rate increase of $1.68 or 5.49%
For the town.
for the whole town, yes.
So we went down 0.5%.
Yep. Your town tax rate goes from $6.06 to $7.30, which is a 20.38% increase.
And that's leaving in the full-time fire and
Right.
police.
Yep.
Now, the rate difference is after, okay. It's, Rebecca, as he was saying earlier, the last few years, because of the way municipal budgeting is, we tend to over budget. If you have to budget worst case scenario, you have to budget that every employee's gonna need retirement and full health insurance. So we tend to over budget, so that's why there's extra money to put against the tax rate for next year. That's why that increases. What
So-
did the selectmen put against it this year, 250?
250. The other thing I have to tell you that is not so easy to calculate is the reduction, because we left in the fire and police, but we didn't do the transfer station. And the transfer station, the only big thing you're gonna take out of that is health insurance, which is 22,000, which reduced it somewhat. Dental is 14, so you probably,
What about the,
30,000 you could reduce it by. That's just for the benefits for that full-time transfer that station we did.
Okay.
I took out the
you already took out the salary,
but
okay.
the benefits.
All right, yeah.
That's in
We
5 or
didn't
6.
talk about this contingency that we keep throwing around. What is it in there at?
20,000?
Right.
It's
Okay.
under line item 32 in the overall, in the summary thing,
It's page 14 at the top.
Okay,
so
so it is at 20,
20.
This thing?
Yep.
No,
and that's a
the
warrant.
long one.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
he did, yeah.
It is not drawn from revenues, it's drawn from the unassigned fund balance.
So if the selectmen were to use $250,000 of the surplus to reduce the tax rate, which goes to, of course, only to the town's credit and not to the school district, what would the rate for the town then be?
Then the rate would be increase of $1.13, a 3.69% increase. Town tax rate increases by only 11.29%.
Scott, last year, did we fund the CIP with fund balance?
No.
We did one.
We
Yeah,
did,
we
we used
years
to.
ago.
Was
Yeah.
it 2 years ago?
That was my attempt to get it down. Right now, it's about $2 million. And we've said, as a board, we want to keep at least $1.5 million in there. And then with the Fairpoint problem sitting there for $250,000, you have maybe $250,000 to play with, maybe.
And plus you have Market Basket sitting there as well,
Market
which
Basket,
could be
too.
if it's a multi-year thing, it could be a couple $100 grand,
I believe they can only go back 3 years.
3 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So 1.7 million times 3 times, our tax rate, So that, oh, hold on, I can tell you how much that is.
Be a couple hundred.
177 times 3 times, well, the tax rate is different, so let's just use $30 a thousand. Oops, wrong one.
Well, if you lose 1.7 million off
It's
evaluation.
$160,000
160? Yeah, I thought it'd be a little higher than that.
approximately. I just used 30,000 because it was 29, and so,
Yeah,
in terms of the tax rate. So just as a ballpark, kind of. So that's.
plus the interest, plus the interest.
Plus the interest.
And that one you think has a greater likelihood than the Fairpoint?
I don't think he knows. And I think it depends on who they have as an expert witness and what sort of appraisal they've prepared
The legal counsel has told us not to pay and don't to take their offer.
on Fairpoint. Yeah,
But what did they say on the market basket?
Oh, I don't know. That's still in process. The only thing I know is the case has been submitted.
to the
and-
court, though, to the court, not to the Board of Tax and Land Appeals, yeah, okay.
No. So,
So it's already been to the board.
no, we've been told about it, but nothing, it hasn't been settled yet.
Well, you denied it, though.
We denied the offer of,
No, wait, just Market Basket. Submitted,
Oh,
made an
actually, no,
application.
no.
You denied that,
In terms of their appeal, yes.
yeah,
So
okay,
they're appealing it. I don't know where it is right at the moment.
okay,
In terms of the fair point, they've offered us a settlement, and we said no, because we were advised.
right, I understand that, yeah, okay.
But that's public
Right.
knowledge.
Yeah. So they're
So-
a year away from Market Baskets.
The thing I will do is if we back out, I can back out in terms of, in total, in terms of personal administration. I won't do it separately, but, so minus $38.34 minus $21.28 minus $4.98 minus 22,244. Too many fours. Minus 1,441 minus 340 minus 827. I won't do them to all the separate line, but I just do it on the summary sheet for us. Not putting $250,000 against the fund, using the fund balance. That's a 6.21% increase, and then the tax rate goes up 5.27%, $1.61. So that's backing out everything that we talked about in terms of the transfer station, new employee, the benefit part of it. And if you were to use $250,000 against the unassigned fund balance, that reduces the increase to 3.47% or $1.06
For the town,
in total, yeah.
yeah.
The town increase, the town part of the increase would be 10.15%.
That's still a lot.
I don't think that's gonna fly either.
That's still a lot.
But that's where we are at the moment.
Why do you have add war service credits on here twice?
That's just how they do it. It goes
Okay.
in and then it goes back out again.
Okay, just wondering. Well, they're both ads, so I wasn't sure. Maybe is one of them supposed to be less?
They're the same thing, they go back, they go in and out. I do not know all the
Okay.
details about it, but it works out, the formula works out and generates the tax rate. Because the 2018, 2019 is tied out to all the state forms, so all that stuff ties out.
Okay.
And there's a reason, and I don't remember what it is. Alice, do you remember?
I didn't hear the question, I'm sorry.
The war service credits? Because
Oh,
they put
veterans
it in
credits.
and then they put it in again,
Yeah, it's because it's a credit.
so.
You have to raise the money for it, essentially.
And it changes every year depending on.
Right, the number
Okay,
given.
That's why I said, okay.
Because this year we've got at least 6 that I know of that are gonna be added next year.
They're gonna be added?
Yeah.
And where are we at, $500?
We're at the max, I don't remember.
I think 500
We voted
is the
the
max.
But, you know, as people die, they don't, of course,
Yeah.
get it anymore, so. So what do we want to do? Do we want to leave it the way it is? Because you have to have a motion to recommend whatever the dollar amount is.
I don't know, I think it's really high. I mean, that's a big increase for,
The other thing, because it is getting late and it's past bedtime, you can meet later on this week. You just have to have a vote in terms of what you're recommending in terms of the totals. Right now, you're at a 4.803,14277. So $4,803,142.77
before the bond.
before the bond. There's no bond in here, and there's no $100,000 that we're talking about putting in for the town hall renovation.
I thought that was in there.
Not for the town hall renovation.
What's the 100,000 in there for?
That's just to the trust fund.
That's just a regular one.
Oh, that's just repairs?
Yeah,
Why so much? To do the town hall?
no, the town hall, the renovation of the town hall will be a warrant article that'll go hand in hand with the bond issue.
With a
It's
separate,
not in there now.
a separate capital reserve fund for the purpose of renovating the town.
So, okay, so there's gonna be a warrant article to create a new capital
Yes.
reserve.
Yes,
And that's $100,000 additional to
Yes.
what's the 100,000 that's in there for maintenance or repairs or whatever. So why is the maintenance and repairs so high? Why are you putting so much in? Is there some sort of project that needs to be done?
That's from the CIP.
Oh,
We can
okay,
put in whatever we want.
okay. So that might be one to look at, I would think.
The other thing is, in terms of when you look at a source of funds in terms of paying for this new town center project, there are gonna be monies coming out of the town building trust fund anyway, the general town building. trust
Yeah,
fund.
yeah,
'Cause
okay.
remember last year, we put in a whole bunch of money? It was more than what was being went in before, so. But it'll be another source of funds to provide funding for the town center project. But this 100,000 is coming from the CIP. That's not something I could have.
I think the selectmen should consider the issue of bonds versus trust funds for this construction progress. Because, of course, if you do it by trust funds, there are people who have paid for this who will never see the benefit of it. Whereas if you do it by a bond issue, the people who are using it are paying for it.
that's true.
Well, what if you move out of town, like yourself?
Well, I won't be paying for it, but the new
Well,
person will
no,
be.
no, But you've paid into those trust funds
Yeah, I
already.
know, for nothing. Or what if you die? Same thing, for nothing.
Yep.
And that's sort of the argument against trust funds, I would say.
Well, that, as you know, traditionally, the towns like to save for things.
I agree.
But you can't save for $3 million, that's, you'd be there.
I'm not
for-
suggesting, I'm suggesting that you bond higher,
Yeah,
so that the people using it actually pay for it,
okay.
that's all. And this is a good time to bond, isn't it? I mean,
Yeah.
in terms of interest rates, I don't know where they are, 3% maybe?
Well, they're a little over 3, and in terms of the spreadsheet that we created, we assumed 4, which is probably worst case scenario. But still 4%. But the thing is, also, if you're looking at the monies that we get on trust fund deposits,
You get nothing.
well, they're getting close, they're getting to 2s. in terms of
Whoa,
average.
whoa.
So, if you think about it, over the course of the life, because the
Well,
cost
geez,
of
what's
money.
inflation? Inflation is
Yeah.
more than 2.
Yeah,
So you're losing money, essentially.
it's better to bond what you need to bond now before rates go up at some point, because they're gonna go up at some point. But the thing is, how far can you push people's pocketbook in terms of paying for those particular things? So,
Well, I agree, I don't know how far you can, but, you know, it makes more sense to me to bond it to a certain degree. I mean, I think that's fine, to have the seed money to do the, you know, the engineering and all of that, but the actual building and construction, it seems to me, should all be bonded, so that the people who are using it are paying for it, as opposed to the people who were here 15 years ago and are now dead, you know, they didn't get anything out of it. Well, it's true.
I was here 15 years ago and I'm very much.
You're not dead.
You're not dead. I
Not even
can tell you a
close,
lot of people
I
who
hope.
are gone, you know?
I think if we talk, you were saying, do you wanna get together again? I think we've addressed all the issues and made a decision.
That's what I was
If it's-
thinking myself
And,
Yep.
too.
you know, we've taken a position on things, and now it's up to the select board whether
Well,
they want
that
to.
was, that was the question, because if you're comfortable with $4,803,142.77, then you're all done. You just need to make a motion for that particular amount, and then we're done. Well, except for him, he has to come
I
back.
so move.
Exactly.
How's that?
Get it right. Well, he put his paper away.
Oh my God, I don't have any more room.
Rebecca will help.
Rebecca, you're gonna, oh, Rebecca's gonna
I mean, all
fight
we
it
do
even.
if
Oh
we
my
get
God,
together again
thank
is
you.
rehash the things that we already.
Okay.
I might have thought of looking at some of the stuff in the CIP.
Oh, in the CIP? Yeah. I mean, there's over $3 million in the CIP already, you know, in all those trust funds.
Here we go,
Did you get a second?
Pat.
Yeah. $3,058,794.71. 229,000, almost 230,000 is in cemetery, so you can't.
So you have to take that out, because that's, you know, that's perpetual care.
1.73 million? Oh, no,
No.
2.73 million.
Yeah, thank you, yeah.
So it's a lot of money.
It is a lot of money to get 2% interest
The
on.
biggest thing, one of the things that is kind of irritating, which you're gonna get pushback, is, where is it? Land use change, there's 283,000 in there. Land acquisition is 232,000. So you've got almost, a little bit over $500,000 is sitting there for those two things.
But
But we're not putting more money into that, are we?
No, we're
No.
not, but the
Okay.
thing is,
For land acquisition, how much more land acquisition are we doing?
I don't know, they don't have any plans, they don't have anything right now, but
Is that actually something we could take?
You'd have to
You'd have to
dissolve
get-
the trust fund.
Yeah,
Oh,
well, you'd have to get the legislative body to take the
yeah,
money
you
out,
have to get a warrant article.
but you're gonna get,
A lot of pushback,
you're
yeah.
gonna get a fight on it.
oh.
Yeah.
But just to give you an idea, there's $500,000 sitting there that's,
But
getting
it's-
2%.
There's no way we can access it.
Except that, you know, the current use change tax one, I don't know if you can, we'd have to go into the general fund, I guess, maybe, or something.
yeah, you'd have to, yeah. You can't,
Yeah,
unless you're gonna expend from it, which that wasn't what I was suggesting. I was just suggesting is taking it possibly out. But yeah, that's a significant amount of money. Plus, there's the fire equipment, there's 419,000 in there, but fire engines are expensive.
yeah.
The last one was wicked expensive, so,
We have another one in a couple of years.
yeah, you do.
That deposit's increased because we got caught off guard
Right.
on the last truck.
Well,
Yeah.
it was budgeted at a little over 330,000, it was like over, almost 5, but then they got some money back for the truck, so it was 4 something, so that's still
Couple
$100,000.
$100,000, they got, yeah.
Fire trucks ain't cheap.
How long do they last? They last 20 years?
And we were
So
listening,
you can bond
I'm
for
not
it. The
in
thing-
favor
the thing
of
is
messing with the CIP, because it
They
just.
last 20 years,
it's
but
taking out
after 10,
any
you have to
right-
get them
gotta-
certified every, I
You know,
think,
it was
2.
one year
I see.
that the board of
still have
selectmen
to pump
voted
them on the water they're
to
supposed to
not
pump.
fund the CIP at all,
Yep, some of it, yeah.
and they're still catching up.
So, you,
You need to vote.
There was a motion, and did Pat second it?
I did.
Okay,
so,
all in favor?
I,
all right,
Aye.
so I'll stick